I digest.
You digested?
Yeah. Actually, I'm just drinking, I haven't eaten.
That's enough, Skip.
Okay.
Even though I couldn't hear it.
It was on there. I could hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I could have unmuted YouTube to hear it. I wonder if Blue recognises the thumbnail I used today for the stream.
Yeah, I've seen that somewhere before.
You have seen it before somewhere.
As if it was only yesterday.
Almost like it was just yesterday.
Well, I was going to listen to your stream, and all I kept doing when I moved across for the different times is I heard a certain voice, and I went, "Oh, is this the Rumpus show? Is it?"
Do you know what? I was in Pipstream and we'd finished, and I thought, oh, Blue's gone live. And I looked in Blue's Discord server and I saw the Rumpus, and I thought, yeah. This is hard, but no.
So I kept scrolling through, and then I've seen the thumbnail come up on the screen, and I thought, I wonder if I could edit that to use that as a thumbnail.
In all honesty, I was knackered because I hadn't slept very well the night before, and I'd been out on site yesterday, and I think Pipstream just about finished me off. And I just looked and I thought, I ain't got the energy for that. Thank you very much.
So did you get any derp on your show at all, Blue, besides Rumpus?
Not much. Not much at all, actually.
Well, what triggered Rumpus?
It's easy to run a stream. It's easy to run a stream with Rumpus, though. You don't really have to do anything other than just mute your mic and sit back.
Sit back and Yeah.
Okay. Well, something must have triggered him off. Whose fault is it?
Oh, everything triggers rumpus. You know that.
Yeah.
I mean, Rumpus is about as close as you can get to perpetual motion.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. And he is like that in real life.
He's hilarious. I love talking to him or listening to him, I guess.
I'm going to guess
talking.
that the big problem in real life is that you haven't got a mute button.
Correct.
Neither's he.
When the two of you are on a riverbank and you're a good half hour, 3/4 of an hour walk back to your car, it's like, yeah, okay, you just got to. You can't just think, oh, sod it, I'll go downstairs and watch TV.
Occasionally, Rumpus will say something like, "Am I talking too much?" And you think just for that split second that, yeah, here's a chance. Yeah, I can jump in. And before you can say anything, Rumpus is like, because if I am, I could always stop. We could change everything, and you go on for another 10 minutes.
He's one of those guys who, after having talked to you for 20 minutes, will say, anyway, to cut a long story short.
The long story. Never-ending
Yeah,
story.
too late, sorry.
Never-ending story.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always fun with Rumpus around.
Bless his heart. He's all right. His heart's in the right place.
So you want me to DM him and put him on here?
Heck yeah, your show.
I might go and defrost the freezer again.
if you do that, Terry, then it was your show.
Yeah, exactly.
Good point. Yes, it was your show.
Yeah, I'll change the title underneath it. The Aussie perspective with Rumpus. No, it'd be the Rumpus show.
No, the Rumpus
with
perspective.
the Aussie's perspective.
Yeah.
I don't know, Judy. That's a good question.
I think he's like those talented musicians who can, be playing an instrument that requires you to blow, and I think they can still suck in through their nose anyway, and they can just constantly.
Yeah. Circular breathing.
Yeah. I think that's how he does it.
Circular breathing. Also, how you play a didgeridoo, which is just a hollow noise too. So,
yeah.
It's been a pretty quiet week. Other than that, I've been listening in on geos and gems, and not really a lot has been going on.
I had Johnny Bernard try to tell me yesterday that I knew nothing about the London Underground and that all the tunnels are perfectly flat. And I said, how many times have you been on the tube? And he went, the what? I said, it's called the tube. It's what we call it over here. It's called the tube. How many times have you been on it? He said, twice. Right. Yeah. Okay. I get on the Central Line at South Ruislip. From ground level up to the station is a good somewhere between 20 and 30 feet in elevation. When I drive to the car park, I drive under a bridge that the railway line is on. So that's the underground. It's outside. It's 30 feet up. And at some point, it becomes the underground. And it's now 30, 40, 50 feet underground. And yet somehow, according to Johnny, keep it level, it's totally flat and doesn't change in height whatsoever, which is
really weird given that more than 50% of the underground is above ground.
That's what I tried to tell her. I said, you get to all the outlying zones and it's an above ground train system. It's still the same system, so it's not in tunnels anymore. But no, it's all perfectly flat and level.
And that includes the deep level lines as well, doesn't it? Like the Central Line.
The Central Line's deep, but I think the Jubilee's even deeper. But I can't. I've only used the Jubilee in town, so I don't know what it's like on the outskirts. But yeah, they all of the London Underground lines at some point aren't underground.
Yeah, well, I mean,
possibly Circle.
No, because the Circle Line's not the Circle. Well, the Circle Line's not underground, but it's not overground either, because it's one of the It's one of the cut and shuts.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly the district and the other bit, isn't it?
Yeah, but he sort of said,
All the early
all
stuff.
London Underground lines are level. Well, no, they're bloody not. I mean, they're up and down, side to side. If you're standing in the middle of a carriage and you're looking and you're at the back and you look down the length of the train and you watch the front of the train and it disappears and you think, hello, here we go. And of course, eventually the back of the train catches up and does the same thing. And you can watch the train doing this, and quite often it's doing that as well. Not quite so violently, but
I
I can
think
guarantee
maybe-
they're not lit.
I didn't even get to put the clue
I
out.
can guarantee-
Clive's already got the scientist.
Not yet, no. Yeah, I worked it out.
Clive.
Yeah.
You're 2 steps
I really
ahead.
wanted to get Terry to read the clue today.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'll put it out there and Terry can read it anyway.
Okay.
is it a good one?
Yeah.
It is. You'll see what I mean when I.
So it's G something B
Yeah.
something W.
Hey, it's one that Terry should know.
Well, I haven't read Clive's answer yet, so
Hang on, I've got to put the rest of the clue in too.
okay.
Where are
Put
we?
it in yet. I can guarantee those tube is not level because it would not be safe if it was. Smoke and water both has to flow to a point. Smoke
Here's the
going up
second-
and water coming down.
There's the second half of the clue.
There's the first half.
The first half is there. As
There you go, Terry.
today's scientist.
Go on, Terry.
and then-
Start ready.
Huh?
Today's
Can
scientist.
you read that, Terry?
Come on.
Where's it say today? Oh, today's scientist is an Italian
This is-
physicist
yeah.
who first described his namesake effect in his publication titled.
And then you've got to read the bottom part, the actual thing that he wrote.
I thought that
What
was
was
the
his
M1
publication title?
IPTIRO.
No.
Not that bit.
Oh, not
No.
that bit. Researchers experimentables sur les principles de la communication lateral du movement dans les fluids applique a explication de difference phenomenons hydraulics.
That's very good, Terry.
Like a proper English person.
Yeah.
Yeah, researchers. Yep, definitely researchers. Yeah, I like that. That's
Yeah. It translates as experimental inquiries concerning the principle of the lateral communication of a motion in fluids.
Thank you, Mr. Venturi.
Yeah. It was Giovanni Venturi. Yeah.
Venturis, good things.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Terry's cars wouldn't work without them, would they?
Well, only one of them. One car. Well, do you suppose
Venturi
the
and
throttle body
Flat
on
Earther,
a-
do you suppose you
Is the throttle body with the fuel injection system still classed as a Venturi?
Depends which sort you've got. Actually, no. Is there a Venturi in that?
Because that's just the air
You should be-
intake.
you-
Just
you've-
goes straight through into the inlet manifold.
Yeah,
Past
the
the butterfly.
air inlets.
'Cause
Sensor
the air,
is
the air
either
inlet's
a-
just
it's a flap or a wire,
flap
isn't it?
that just lets so much air in.
Well, it doesn't let it in. The movement of the flap tells
Sure,
the
it
car how
restricts-
much air is going through.
Yeah.
Because, of course, some just use a wire, don't they? I think mine uses a wire in the airflow.
A wire?
Mm.
Doesn't have to have a
Mm.
butterfly.
No, it's
Well, yours
it's
is
the
diesel.
airflow sensor, isn't it?
Yours is
Yeah,
diesel.
yeah. But it's the airflow sensor. It's the movement of the air across the wire.
Yeah, that's further down, near the air filter.
Well, yeah,
That's where the
just
airflow
after the air
sensor
filter.
is. What are the big knobs talking about? What do you mean? What are the big knobs talking about?
It means us.
What wire?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, they got like a hot wire anemometer or something.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fairly sure that's what. Yes, fairly sure that's what my car's got.
Probably just a sensor wire, is it?
Yeah, but it works via. They pass an electric current through the wire, Terry, which heats it up, and then the airflow cools it back down. And what they do is they vary the current in the wire to keep it at the same temperature.
Well,
Right.
I've got one of
And,
them in my heater core.
By measuring that current,
Yeah.
by measuring that current, they know how much air is going through.
And
Right.
mine works on the opposite principle in the heater core. It's got like a little curly wire that air passes through it, like a switch. You can have it at different speeds as well.
Hot wire type anemometers are quite nice, especially at lower velocities. They tend to get a little funky at high velocity.
Yeah.
Used to use those things to run flow model tests.
Hmm.
This bit is level, these bits are vertical, these bits are horizontal. And then the bottom bit, I can't read that as good as Farmer.
What are you reading? What are we looking at?
I'm over on the YouTube. I've got the YouTubes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right.
Sorry. Yes. Right. Oh, right. Well, whatever he's referring to after that, I can't see yet because it hasn't appeared. But maybe level isn't horizontal.
There's so many different variations we could use for the same theme.
Oh, that bloke's voice is really starting to get on my tits. Especially any word that ends in ing, because it's the way you pronounce, you
He
know.
was doing a live
Beginning.
stream. Missed out on that.
Yeah,
G.
got that g on the end of everything.
It's that way he emphasises the G on the end. It's, no. Well, it's worse than the Welsh. Ugh.
Well, it's sort of half G, half K.
Yeah, it's just his accent. But oh god, what was that? The way his voice is very adenoid. Oh, no.
Oh dear.
It's even worse than Birmingham, isn't it?
It'll be good. Oh, okay, I can handle that. Yeah, I mean, Christ, I worked in Birmingham for enough years. I can put up with that. But yeah, it's just something about his voice, his accent, the pitch, the tone, regardless of what he's actually saying, because obviously that's utter, at the correct level of
Bollocks.
observer, tosh.
I thought you were doing a rumpus then. Utter.
Utter. Sorry, got stuck there.
You can't do a rumpus accent. That's a bit tricky, that one.
No, I no, can't do rumpus. Sorry. I know where he lives, but I'm not entirely sure his accent is from where he lives. It could be. Where he lives is that part of the country that doesn't really, to my mind, have a strong accent. Sorry, what was that, Alan?
I was going to say he almost hasn't got an accent, has he?
Correct. Yes.
But he's not really doing RP either, though, is he?
No. There are parts of the country that don't really have much of an accent.
Yeah, I listened to Bev 2 days ago, and at one point he just couldn't control himself. He had to go back and insult George Natchik again.
Really?
And I suppose I gave him some of my more colorful language in the chat. I mean, that's just about low,
I mean, they they treated him pretty bad when when he was alive. I mean, you know, he's gone now. Leave him be. Yeah.
No way.
I mean, that whole
I don't quite know how to verbalize my disgust with someone who continues to denigrate a man after he's dead that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just about as low life as it gets. If you're listening, Bev, you cocksucker, you are a low life motherfucker. Oops, sorry. Swear jar.
Huh? Well, sorry, I was distracted then. I didn't hear that.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you didn't hear it then, yeah. But no, yeah. I mean, you are absolutely right. I mean, that whole gang of them over there, they really are just the lowest of the low. The way they treat people. Yeah, and so I'll come into the server. It's lovely. We're all friendly. Really?
Yeah.
These days he's constantly whining because nobody will come talk to him. Why does anybody want to go talk to people like that?
Yeah.
Why would you want to?
Yeah, I mean they've pretty much driven away just about everybody that they can talk to, and then they wonder why nobody wants to come and talk to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a ploy because he's live? Is it a ploy because he's live streaming? He wants that drama.
Yeah, I think so. He's trying. Well, listening to him, go over and over and over Euclid time and time again is about as interesting as watching paint dry. So he's desperate to try to find some kind of content. The only kind of content he can dream up is a controversy between people.
Mm.
And the only people that go over there anymore is occasionally Rumpus does, and Brenda will show up.
Yes, they do seem to have a bit of a masochistic streak about them, don't they? That they will quite willingly go in there and argue with them. It's like, oh, what's the point?
Yeah.
It's absolute waste of time.
That person that first letter of his name starts with a K. He's disappeared off the Discord. I haven't seen him back.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I found myself shouting out, "Are you kidding?" when Rumpus said that you couldn't possibly have an argument with Lemon, but with people like Nathan Oakley and Bev, you could at least have some sort of argument with them. And I'm smacking myself saying, "Are you kidding?"
Really?
With Oakley? Yeah, right.
Well, you can't have an argument with him. He's even bloody worse. As soon as you open your mouth, he mutes you. Yeah, and then just shouts and insults you. That's not even an argument, let alone a discussion.
While you're muted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that classic Monty Python scene. When he thinks he's gone there for an argument and he's walked in on the bloke that hurls abuse at him.
Yeah.
Shut your festering gob, you tit. Oh, all right then. Oh, you can't do nothing against that. He'd want to. What's the point?
Yeah.
We had somebody turn up in Jose's again the other day. It's called No Tanks. So that immediately is a black mark as far as I'm concerned. But it's utterly pointless waste of time talking to the guy, because as soon as you try and offer anything, evidence, he just ignores you. I mean, he's got to be a troll, but it's like, what's the point in talking to him?
That name sounds familiar.
He comes in, I just go on mute because it's pointless. Is he worse than Lemon? Yes, he is worse than Lemon.
Is he from Gems or Geos? Because I have heard of that name.
I think he might be one of Bev's, but I'm not sure. But you'd be better off talking to a brick wall. You'd have a better conversation talking to a brick wall.
I think he hangs out over at Geo's.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
I'm
not in that server anymore.
I'm not in Geo, so
yeah.
That's who
Let me guess. You might even get a better result talking to Rumpus.
Well, at least you could sort of listen to Rumpus having a conversation with himself, yeah. And some of it would make sense.
Tiny Captain says if Bev server is friendly, the Ukraine war is just a happy get together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is a fact.
I was in Bev server for 2 days, and I didn't go and voice chat. I just watched what was going on in the text chat, and it was just like, oh, no, thank you. You're just a bunch of vile, insert colourful expletive here. You know, they were just nasty, horrible people. It's like, no, thank you. I feel dirty. I need a shower. I'm out of here. Like jumping into a septic tank. Oh, I'll just go and clean myself down with some slurry.
I'm trying to work out.
Sorry, Alan, you won't drink it, will you?
Fortunately not.
I can't quite
It's
see
a
all your
You just got
thumbnail.
me that one.
I can't quite see all your thumbnail, Paul. I can't read it properly.
Oh, it reads, "You matter unless you multiply yourself by the speed of light, squared." And then it's supposed to say, "Then you energy."
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I'm sorry to
Far
say.
Side cut.
I'm sorry.
Go on.
You go.
There was a Far Side cartoon, and it's Einstein at the blackboard, and he's got E equals MC, and it was tripled, and E equals MC to the, and he's just like, I can't figure out what I'm doing, and this cleaning lady's coming and doing the desk, and she's going, yep, all squared away, and he's like, that's it.
Oh
squared
man,
away.
Carl Edwards, that's funny. I once posted my server password into a Teams meeting. It would have been okay if it hadn't been fuck management.
Oh dear.
Dear.
Well, I'm sorry to say I haven't got another Lindsay tonight.
I saw that I missed Lindsay on Wednesday.
Oh, we can replay it then. Okay, I'll grab that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I wouldn't want to put you through that again.
You sure?
Yeah, no, I'm sure, because I don't want to watch it.
But I do have some other derp. It's from a little known channel called Jazzler 111. I think we played one a couple of weeks back.
we did look at him, didn't we?
Figure eight something on Floater something. I couldn't figure that one out.
Right, neither could he.
Yeah. This one's Flat Earth, How the Stars Really Travel. But it's got Jared's and Wolfie 60-20 challenge. But these videos are going back to 2017, so it's a bit of a reminiscence.
All right, quite old then.
Yeah. Sorry, Clive, I haven't got a new Lindsay. Oh, they're revolting out there. The peanuts are revolting.
The peanuts revolting.
Revolting.
Yeah. I know, I've seen them.
God, I wish the sun had stopped going in and out so I didn't have to keep adjusting the exposure on the camera.
I don't know. The sun's over there somewhere now, so
Yeah. Trouble is, this time of year, the sun stays so low as it comes around the back of the house. It doesn't really get above the height of the window, so it's literally shining through the down window all the time.
yeah.
Well, that's when you live at a higher altitude, higher latitude.
High? Not that
We're
high.
not that high. Mind you, we're high compared with, say, I don't know, Australia. I think we're further north than about 90% of the population of Canada, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we're on about the same as Newfoundland.
Yeah.
We probably are. Yeah.
When you look at the fact that most of the population of Canada lives sort of down near the American border.
Can't really blame them, can you?
Well, no.
So is this where we unlearn something?
Yes.
Cool.
Where's Space Matt when we need him?
Play,
Okay.
please, Terry.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to make a video to show that this video is totally not reality. Jaren's challenge to the pole stars. This is not reality at all. This was made by Wolfie 6020, and he's basically saying that the pole stars are above the poles. This is totally nonsense, and I'm going to explain why. What he's basically trying to do, he has the string line going to the roof, like the stars are 1,000,000 miles away from this pole.
And the rest.
Well, this is totally nonsense, and I'll tell you why soon. He's saying that the stars spin miles away from the actual Earth. Well, this is why.
No, he doesn't say that.
I have to take the camera out the tripod. He's basically saying that the Earth is like that. It's my pen. And his pole stars are spinning around like this. This is total baloney, and I'll explain why in a minute. He's basically saying that the reason why the Earth spins is it makes the perfect circles all the way out there. Well, no, that's not how things work in reality. Okay?
Is it not?
And what I'm about to show you,
You don't see star trails at the North
is
Pole when you look up.
the pole star is above the South Pole, and the stars actually spin around the pole star, and guess
Do
what?
they?
They meet up at the equator. Ah, they meet up at the equator.
Alright, if we can see
Oh,
it.
you can't point your camera.
They are always
Yeah, I know, I
going
can't
over
I can't
Australia.
scroll up. I'm trying to scroll up and I can't.
Every day you can monitor them.
Oh, there's his feet.
This is how the stars go, and in the north they're exactly the same, spinning around, and they meet at the equator.
Do they? Wow.
Well, you get what I'm...
Yeah, he's
Trying
you're
to
right.
draw
Yeah,
here?
he's not a Lindsay. Oh, dear.
Okay? The pole stars meet at the equator. They're always going over the top of Australia.
What?
They're never ever underneath Australia. So the ball is not spinning for the stars to be underneath the ball. They're always going over Australia. If you really want to check this out, you can go to Sky Map. You can go to Star Walk Sky Guide. You can go to Star Tracker. You can go to Star Chart.
How
Sky
about
View.
the actual star trail
Star
that's
Finder,
come from Melbourne?
Star Rover, Star Map, and this will explain exactly how the stars spin over Australia every single day, every single night. They do not go under Australia. They're always over the top of Australia. They're
How do
not
they go
at
under
a pole
Australia?
star 1,000,000 miles away like
Yeah.
what he's explaining in this video. They meet at the equator. There's plenty of star trails that show they meet at the equator. This is spinning around the North Pole and spinning around the South Pole and meeting at the equator. They're not going to meet at the equator when they're 1,000,000 miles away from the North Pole and from the South Pole. And it's due to perspective. When I'm in Australia, I'm looking 180 degrees straight up. And what I mean by 180 degrees this is how our vision
180 degrees
works.
straight up. What?
Yeah, that's right.
If you're a person
Isn't that
here
90 degrees?
with his eye standing on the ground, okay, you're always looking 90 degrees. If you go anything under, you start off at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 degrees. 100, 100 and...
What? The protractor's meant to be on the ground at his feet, and he's looking, pointing out. That'd be at 45 degrees, wouldn't it? Am I wrong?
No.
If you put the
Protractor needs
protractor on the ground,
the
oh
protractor
no, then you
needs to
wouldn't
be.
look. You wouldn't be looking out that way.
It
then,
needs to
would you?
be at his eye level.
Yeah, if you had the protractor around the other way.
If he's just looking straight ahead, he's looking at an angle of 0 degrees, isn't he? He's just looking straight ahead. He's not looking up. He's not looking down.
Oh, okay, yeah, along the same line as the.
So
bottom.
if he was looking straight up, absolutely straight up, he'd be looking up 90 degrees.
90.
Because that's the difference between his eye level now and straight up. But he's turned the protractor around, so he's looking straight down as his 0, and looking straight up is 180 degrees.
Well, I mean, when you specify an angle, you've got to specify two things: what you're looking from and to.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Armageddon's fire's going. Oh my God! Please give us Lindsay.
Give us Lindsay.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 160, 170, 180 degrees from perpendicular, from the 0. So basically what that means is when you look at converging
You're a
lines,
fucking idiot.
What?
if you're that person here looking, the horizon always rises to that 90 degrees. The sky always comes down to that 90 degrees.
Where's he getting
And I'm
that
going
from?
to explain a demonstration out the backyard in a minute how that actually works. You can look at converging lines down a hallway and watch how they converge down and converge up. That's how lines work. That's how our perspective works. Now I'm about to go out the back, and what we have here is another application. Like I said, 0 degrees to 180 degrees to 90 degrees. This is how the application works. And it's called Flat Earth Detector. Okay.
Yeah, might have been better off with bullshit detector.
Now what we have here are lights. What I'll do is I'll actually plug those lights in so it makes them a bit brighter so we can see them.
You don't need any more brighter. You've got enough exposure. We can see quite fine.
Alright, now the lights are on.
You made
Okay,
it
all
work.
these lights are at the same height.
Zone.
They're all parallel to the ground. Okay, this line on the ground is
How do you know
parallel
your
to the
ground's
line
parallel?
at the top. We can measure it from there to there, and we can measure it from that end to the ground. Okay, well this star here, this blue one right here is, we'll call it the Southern Cross. This star all the way at the end is the pole star. Okay, and this is how you see things in perspective. Okay, the blue star. If we can get that pitch to... Well, if we go straight up, you're talking 180 degrees, which is that light there. Then it goes less degrees, 170 degrees, 160 degrees, 150 degrees, 140 degrees, 130 degrees. And the further you keep looking, the perspective goes down. It keeps going down to the horizon, which would be 90 degrees. Well, when you look from the ground at 0 degrees and slowly work your way 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, 50 degrees, 60 degrees, 70 degrees, 80 degrees, 90 degrees. Well, that's where these lights will end up. They will end up at that horizon line. If this went for another kilometre long, this will hit the horizon. As you can see, they converge down. They converge down to the ground. Same with the ground, it converges up until they hit that horizon line. Thanks for watching.
I can't see that.
Mm. You can thank me later.
I think it's time for a CHL quote there. It's bollocks.
Yep, that was indeed bollocks.
Well, I do have another one if you wanted to add on to that one.
Oh dear.
Go on then.
I think if we hurt your brain that much, I think this one follows on with these misunderstandings. North to south stars, convergence, divergence. So if that one confused you,
This one's even worse.
this one's going to be even worse. Press play.
Yeah, go on then.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Goes for 12 minutes. Oh, he's back out in his garage again too, so. Is he trying to do a star trail or?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't know. Have to wait and see. I just watch the sun come up.
Either that or this is the start of Hotel California. Oh no, maybe not. It's a shack.
Okay, I wanted to do a demonstration to show how the stars are travelling north to south. For an example, if we're looking down this hallway and I'm to the north, to the other end of this hallway is to the south, and from one side of the hallway is east to west. Okay, so going across the hallway like this is east-west. Well, to go down the hallway would be from north to south. So basically, the stars, to go north to south, they have to go down that hallway away from me to go down. Then they go back from west to east, then from south to north, then from east to west. If they were just going east-west, they'd be going in a straight line straight across. They would not be going away from me. Okay, that's how depth works. It's like when you do a time lapse, it looks like two-dimensional, like that red circle without any background. It just looks like a two-dimensional circle. Well, it's actually going away from you and around. Because north-south, west to east, south to north, back from east to west. That's how it's actually making its circle. You can't make a circle unless it goes north to south. Same with the converging line.
What if you tip
For
this?
an example, if you were to follow these lines all the way down the...
Just Timber.
Terry,
Mm.
what if you just turned that circle and made it 90 degrees vertical? Wouldn't it also be a circle?
You don't tell him that.
Okay. No, he just said the only way you could do it is if it's not the south. But if it was going up and down, it would also be a circle. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, and it's not going round in a circle because for it to look like a circle to the observer,
Yeah.
it would have to be going in an ellipse.
Yeah, it'd be an
Yes.
oval, not a.
Unless you were looking along the axis.
The hallway, well, these lights will actually diverge and go below the horizon and end up below the horizon. That's how why we don't see the Polaris star, is because even though these parallel lines, they converge, one goes up, one comes down, and it converges to a point until it starts to diverge and go down, like basically why Polaris is why we can't see it. Even though it's a parallel line, it will diverge at the point of convergence. Many
So
things to.
They diverge after infinity.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
To show. Where are we? In here. I even done another one out the back of the lights, of how they converge down. And for this red light to go around this white light, it has to go away from me. It's not looking like a two-dimensional circle, it's in 3 dimensions, it's got depth, it's actually going this way, away from me, which would be from north to south. Then it goes from west to east, back from south to north, then from east to west, and that's basically why it is going north to south. And the star itself is almost 90 degrees above my head, so it's basically up here and going down to, I don't know, almost 45 degrees before it starts bending around in that star photo, which means it's going from north to south. Yeah.
Has he got no concept of what
I
the
just
star
wanted to make
trails
a
look
video
like?
to show how.
There's just
parallel
one little
lines.
problem. Just one little problem. The stars don't actually fucking do that.
Yeah, but other than that,
And I think
Yeah.
he's picked all those pictures off the internet, that the images what we have, and a lot of them are all in a panoramic type view as well. So that's even more confusing for him.
But just stick a camera and do your own star trails and then explain it.
I think that's what he was trying to do at the start there, but it didn't
Yeah.
quite work.
But then you'd have to know how to use a camera, wouldn't you? And
Yeah.
what flurf knows how
Oh.
to use a camera?
Well, you've seen
You
how
know,
he's
yeah,
tried to do
take
it at
like-
the start. He tried to do something.
Yeah. That's the frustrating thing. It takes 10 minutes of Googling. Download an app and your camera can do it. Yeah. So your phone can do it.
Converge. Basically, this top section of the veranda is parallel to this ground. You can measure the ground from the top of this pergola to the ground on this end, and you can measure it at that end. It's the same distance. Well, what happens if you're level with the light bulbs, they don't angle very much because you're at that same parallel line. But if you come down in depth, the angle to those lights are changing, and the further they go down, the more angle they are. So the higher something is, the more it angles, and that's just a basic quick demonstration on how height changes the angle, and same with distance. The depth of how far something
He's
is
the one that done the
changes
rubber
angle
bands.
to
That's
how you see it.
Gary. Yeah, him and Gary
As well
get
as
on really well.
if you were to spin these stars around, so where that white light is at the very end, and you were to spin this parallel beam so it was on the other end, it would actually go lower than what that last light is. It would actually go down to the converging line and hit the horizon. That's basically how depth works.
What's that got to do with star
Yeah.
trails? That's what I don't get.
Absolutely nothing.
What I want to show is how parallel lines, two lines
How's that going to
that
form that shape?
are perfectly level like how I showed in the hallway picture, these lines are parallel. This line here is parallel with this one here. Why is it that we see these two parallel lines converge together?
Because it's called
It's because we have depth. It's not two-dimensional. You have to think in 3 dimensions. Well, there's more than 3 dimensions. But
close up big.
anyway,
yeah, these are big.
Far away small.
for an example, the higher something is, for an example, when we look at clouds, clouds are more at this height. So then therefore the angle away from you is a lot less. The higher something goes up, which I explained in a video, that the more it angles down, and you'll see that in my other video of my lights.
What?
Yeah, this is
But
similar to a
this
Gary
is what we're actually looking at, and the stars are doing a 45. That's because it's perspective, is what we see.
I think
the
Gary might have been
convergence, how it
watching
converges
this guy
down,
early on.
which is like how the roof converges down.
So the,
And if that roof was higher,
so the higher it is, the
that
closer to
angle
the
would be
horizon it gets.
sharper. It would actually go right down, like it's like you're looking at a 2-dimensional wall. But yeah, what I wanted to show
love how they
about
take perspective and turn it
vertical
around.
as to how I mean vertical from the poles. The stars aren't vertically spinning at the tops of the poles, millions of miles away from Earth, because there'd be a void from here
He's even gone to the
to
trouble
here
of
where we
sticking tape
wouldn't
and
see
A4
stars.
together
The
just to draw it
stars
bigger.
circle and meet at the equator. So the southern pole stars are going around in a circle, but they meet the northern pole stars at the equator. And what I mean by that
Well, they don't.
is this.
So he literally thinks all the stars are gathered out
The
there
stars
at the
are-
same distance away.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So what's happening on the other side of the planet?
Spinning like this, horizontal to the plane. And this is the north, this is the south. And they meet at the equator.
Is he saying we see the star trail elliptical like he's drawn it? That's what he's depicting.
No, I think what he thinks is that when you're on the equator, that the center of the star trail would be roughly 45 degrees up in the sky, not at the horizon almost. That's what he's got wrong there.
They're not spinning vertically at the poles. Because if they were spinning vertically at the poles, you wouldn't have stars at the equator. Same with how I've done my diagrams. The stars spin like I just showed you in that picture, but this is an above view from the stars. This is all mapped out exactly how it all works from above, from the south to the north, how they meet at the equator. You can map out every star that's...
What is he saying from above? You mean from below?
Yeah. Well, above or below. It's
on here,
perspective.
the Southern Cross spinning around here all the way out to the stars spinning around at the equator. Yeah, the sun time zones, why we get 14 hours of sun in the summertime, why we get 12 in spring, 12 in autumn and 10 in winter. I'd like to see time zones written up on a ball, because that would be very interesting. I can show time zones exactly match why we get the time zones that we get with this diagram, but it'd be interesting to see how time zones are made on a ball.
Well, why haven't you looked it up, you mate?
There are many things that I look at with even dimensions.
We're not hiding it.
I mean, this is how we see things. We see things like this. This isn't 3 dimensions. It doesn't look 3 dimensions. Well, it doesn't look like the 3 dimensions that we look at, which is basically like this. They don't look anything alike. Everything converges to a point. That's why planes disappear in the sky because they get that small the further they go, and then all of a sudden you cannot see that plane anymore. Where if you were looking in this
Hasn't he drawn both drawings three-dimensionally?
dimension, that plane you could see forever. Yeah. But this is the dimension I believe we live in. Yeah, a very weird, sophisticated dimension. It's straight lines and circles. But yeah, anyway. What I can't seem to wrap my head around is the moon and the sun travel from east to west. But where I am, the star travels in this direction. That's what I can't seem to wrap my head around. Because if the Earth was spinning from west to east, so the moon goes from east to west, how can this star be going in this direction? That's what's got me really confused. And what I mean by that, on my map, the moon goes from Tropic of Capricorn to the Tropic of Cancer in 28 days. So basically it's going back and forth in 28 days. Okay? But the sun does this in 6 months. That's another thing that confuses me. I don't know what the moon is going up and down on the side of the ball, or how does that work? But what I'm basically saying is when the moon goes onto the other side to the northern hemisphere and the moon is coming around from the northeast, that's where it rises, then it tracks around. But what's going on is this star is coming from here going north to south, because I'm roughly around here is where Australia is, and I'm watching that star track around here north to south.
Well, we're on the equator.
So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that I look at.
Capricorn, I think.
Thanks for watching.
The equator in that view is the outside edge of the circle.
And you can see how they all rehash.
There are a lot of interesting. It's more fair to say there are a lot of interesting things that I take.
It's like as if you could just watch any video from any of the time periods, and it's just you don't even have to guess what year it's in. It's just they're all the same.
And none of the stars go from north to south or south to north.
Yeah, I know. I picked up on that one. North south. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
They just don't. They don't do that.
they just don't do that.
No.
And it's like I'm not quite sure what he thinks perspective's got to do with it anyway.
Yeah, he's mixing two different things.
I think he's just worked out the current thinking is that perspective somehow explains the sun, so therefore it must explain the stars.
Yeah, tiny captains, isn't it? Now, you can't draw time zones on a globe.
I just think it's funny that he says, I wonder how they do it. Well, did you even spend 30 seconds to type it in just to find out?
Yeah. Although, of course, they don't line up generally with the lines of latitude always for the boundaries of time zones because of politics.
Yeah.
You know, because like for example, the People's Republic of China has a single time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite something considering how big China is.
Exactly.
And in the Pacific, the time zone takes a big 90-degree. Yeah, well, you can see there a few 90-degree bends just to get around islands and.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the dateline. Or was that what you mentioned?
Yeah,
Sorry,
the international dateline.
Yeah, it's spinning on the international dateline.
I think they changed that recently too, didn't they? In some way, around a couple of the islands.
I mean, up in the Bering Straits, there's a spot where they jiggle the dateline so that two islands that are half a mile apart fall on either side of it,
Yeah.
because one belongs to Russia and one belongs to America.
Well, we have really stupid time zones here.
Yeah, I don't
Across
know
the
why we've
border
got
from
this
us.
half-hour one.
Yeah, half hour.
Ridiculous.
What's the point of that?
No, I can't see one. It's only because the Northern Territory and South Australia are actually two states that are in the middle that divide Western and Eastern Australia.
Yeah. So I can go across to the border and arrive in the town before I actually left.
You're gonna have to stop speeding then, aren't you?
Yeah.
Breaking the laws of physics. And apparently Nepal has their time is 15 minutes different to India, according to Biggest Dollars.
So,
Have we
Is
got
that
anything
dirt
to
you've
clean
got
our
for us,
brain with
Terry, or-
now, Paul?
we have. I've got a quiz. I do have. See what I can organise here. Suppose I could try and share that screen. If I do
Professor
that,
Phil wanted to troll his channel, but I'd have to get it.
and do that and have my chats up, then I can go and start a slideshow like that.
Hello.
Obviously, you can see the right screen then from that
Yes.
reaction.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Give us a minute. We just got to
Alright.
got to focus our screens better.
I just got to get my thoughts together.
All right. You got to get your thoughts together.
Yeah,
Are your thoughts diverging, are they?
they're doing something.
Well, it could be diverging and converging.
Oh, dear. All right. Are your brains cleansed enough, or?
Not quite. I think they need a little more.
Ah, well, there you go. Here you go. You can always go back. Question 1. This character's last words include, "We owe a rooster to Asclepius." Who was this? Who said we owe a rooster to Asclepius?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Somebody had owned a rooster.
That's the worst spelling I've ever seen.
No, it's
Alan.
not, no.
But you're the right.
Someone
You got it
owed
right.
Thanks, Paul.
Man, are you sure you're not dyslexic, Alan?
I am terribly dyslexic, Paul.
Okay.
Thank God I can use a spell checker. Normally.
Echecrates asks about the specifics of this man's death in one work, while in another work this man's friend fails to convince him to escape from a jail cell. Who was it?
Oh, okay, Phil. I'll have some pity on us.
Not Foghorn Leghorn.
No.
Still not got it? No? This subject of Phaedo and friend of Crito stands trial against charges brought by Anytus, Miletus, and Lyson in another work where he is referred to as the gadfly of the state. Who is it? It's not Aristotle, Timbo. No. It's not Aristarchus either.
The dodo.
It's not Plato. After being found guilty of corrupting the minds of Athenian youth, this thinker is sentenced to death by drinking hemlock. That should give it away. Who is it?
I think it's what's his name.
He wanted to drink hemlock out of. Yeah, it was his choice.
That was. I know who you mean, Big Blue. Still not quite spelled correctly, but yeah, I know who you mean, and you're correct.
Better than Alan's attempt at spelling, I'll bet.
So, says Doranu, so, crates? Yeah.
Yeah.
Socrates.
Yeah.
Socrates.
Don't worry about Paul, guys.
It was indeed Socrates. Socrates, or as Alan called him, Scorites.
So don't worry about how you spell it for Paul.
Scorites.
You spell them incorrectly.
Yeah, look,
And Big Blue called him Secretes.
You keep
yes,
misspelling-
this is how bad my.
You guys keep misspelling it for Paul. He likes that.
Yeah, Alan spelled it Scorities.
Yeah,
Scorites.
we knew what
Scorites.
you
Yeah,
Alan.
yeah. Well, I
Name
am
this ancient
totally
Greek.
dyslexic.
Name this ancient Greek philosopher, the subject of many dialogues written by his student Plato. It was indeed Socrates. Yeah,
Yeah, Socrates.
Oops.
Socrates. Yeah.
Oops. I think the clue's in the back. Just turn that off.
All right, question 2. The inhabitants of this location are classified as either drowned or saved in a memoir by an Italian chemist. What is this location?
Oh, where's my chat? Where's my chat?
It's not Atlantis, Timbo, no.
Uh-huh.
In another book, the narrator declares that God is hanging here on this gallows when he witnesses the execution of a young boy at this location, where the residents of the Hungarian town of Zayat are sent after they ignore the warnings of Mosh the Beadle. Where is this place? It's not Atlantis.
No.
It's not hell.
No. Sounds like it.
Primo Levi wrote about survival in this location. Where is it? Not Budapest. No. Okay, in 1992, Art Spiegelman won a Pulitzer for his graphic novel depicting the guards and prisoners in this location as cat and mice. Where is it? It's not Flatadia. Oh, can I go down to the last one, is it? Name this setting of Elie Wiesel's novel Night, a World War II concentration camp. Which one was it? Yeah. Which one, Blue?
Yeah. I'm thinking.
Not
I think
Buchenwald,
it's-
Alan. No.
I think it's that one.
That's it. Creative spelling as well. Auschwitz.
Yeah, Auschwitz. Yeah.
Oh, it was
Auschwitz.
Auschwitz.
You get the idea.
It is indeed Auschwitz.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was one of the other ones.
Auschwitz?
No, it is Auschwitz, yeah. Yep. Spelled with a U in there.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yep. Congratulations to Professor Phil Bell, who got it first out there. Well done.
And spelled it correctly.
Okay, question 3. The discrete nature of this property helped prove the existence of Weiss domains, whose boundaries physically distort to produce Barkhausen noise. What is this property? What the hell distorts to produce Barkhausen noise?
Christ knows.
And what
Some
are,
weird
what are
physics
Weiss
question, isn't it?
domains? It is. Oh, did Spooky Bedhair get that one first?
I thought it was an obscure
He
Doctor Who
did
question.
too. He did too, yes. Well done.
Well done.
This property can be modelled by a simple lattice of discrete spins, the Ising model, and is dependence on both current and past conditions is a canonical example of hysteresis. What is this property? No, it's not spin. A discontinuity in the Curie-Weiss equation causes this property to disappear at the Curie temperature. That should nearly give it away. What is this property? What kind, Alan? Big Blue's got it correct. Unlike a
That's
similar
the whole
phenomenon,
answer.
yeah, this property can exist without an external field, and it allows minerals like magnetite to spontaneously align themselves. You're right, Dora, but what kind? What kind of magnetism? Name this property found in elements like cobalt and iron. Not animal magnetism, Timbo. No. Not super glue. Incoherent electrostatic. Biggest August, as if Weiss could make an equation.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, I guess we'll just have to give this one to Blue, who got it correct then there. And Clive
Clive
Wells.
got
Yeah, Clive got it.
I've got it.
It is ferromagnetism. Yeah,
Oh, is that what you call it?
it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the three types.
Yep. You can still have magnetism above the
Four
Curie
types.
temperature, just not ferromagnetism.
Right.
You forget 4 types. You're forgetting animal magnetism.
Yeah. Question 4. One form of this property can be measured in solution as a ratio by observing the rotation of light, a property that was first observed by Louis Pasteur. What property is this? What property rotates light?
Oh, God.
No, it's not polarization. The terms ortho, meta, and para denote one kind of this property for an aromatic ring. This is more of a chemistry question than a physics question. EZ notation is a generalized notation for this property around a double bond. Chiral centers prevent superposition to create one form of this property called enantiomerism. What is this property? That's the one, Alan Evans. Yes, you've got it correct. The compounds cyclohexane and hexene possess the structural form of this property. And your last clue, name these entities that possess the same chemical formula but different structures. What are they known as? There's an example. Same bits, but arranged in a different way. What are they known as? That's the one, Spooky Bedhair. That's the word I was looking for. Isomerism, or isomers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isomers. Yeah.
Yes. And it's the fact that they're isomers that causes them to polarize light differently, which is what you can observe as a ratio by shining light
Exactly.
through that things.
That's right. Yes. Question 5. This quantity is the ratio between kinematic and dynamic viscosity, and it is constant in an incompressible fluid. I'm expecting this one to go fairly quickly. What is constant in an incompressible fluid?
Well,
Not pressure, Alan.
I'm gonna guess.
Because-
Make a guess.
Yeah.
Let's have a chat. Go on. Let's have a chat.
That's the one, Alan. Yes. But you were beaten by... who's got it up there? Farmer's Boy. Well done, Farmer's Boy. Timbo's got it right too, so has Big Blue. And the Peanuts have got it out there too, with Biggest Doggers coming in with density.
It is
I'll
your
give you the
destiny.
Yeah, it is your destiny, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Variations in this quantity are used to measure temperature in the thermometer developed by Galileo. Remember that thermometer that he invented that had the little floating balls in it that would rise up and down?
Yep.
You know?
Ah,
I had one of those.
I do. I've got one of them. Yeah. This
Broke.
quantity is
I don't
multiplied by terms for gravity and height in the potential form of Bernoulli's equation, rho GH. The ratio of this quantity with that of water is called specific gravity. In general, the ratio of this quantity with that of a fluid can be used to determine whether it will float by Archimedes' principle. Name this value equal to mass over volume. It is density.
Yes, specific gravity, otherwise known as relative density, which cannot ever, 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 ever be in disequilibrium.
That's it.
Really, really bugs me when the idiots say that. Oh, it's not gravity,
yeah.
it's relative density disequilibrium. Go and play in the motorway.
Eggs.
Yeah.
Eggs.
Eggs. Oh, don't.
Eggs.
This is an egg.
That's the only thing you got right.
That's exactly right, yeah. Question 6. In response to the economic disruption caused by this event, Edward III of England required all people under the age of 60 to work and set at a maximum wage cap via the Statute of Labourers. Why did they do this? What was going on? That's the one, Alan Evans, yes.
Yeah. I think I managed that before you even finished saying it out loud.
I did, you did, yeah. Not the Depression, no. This event may have begun after the Golden Horde besieged a Genoese colony in Crimea. What event was this? Thousands of Jews in Germany were massacred for allegedly causing this event by poisoning wells. And we have the first person to get it correct out in the Peanuts. Congratulations, Clive.
Just
who
type
got
it in as well.
the
Oh,
Black
yeah,
Death.
okay.
It was
Yes.
indeed the Black Death.
Yeah.
Yeah. The flagellant movement, whose members whipped themselves in religious penance, reached its greatest popularity during this event, which expanded in scope by following trade routes. Name this 14th century epidemic that killed a third of Europe. It was the Black Death, or the bubonic plague.
I'm going to say, was it because there's two forms, isn't there, of the plague? Pneumonic and because there's some doubt. I think there's some doubt now over which type of plague it actually was, isn't there?
I think there is.
Mm.
Whatever it was bad.
It was indeed.
I'm
Yeah.
not dead.
Shut up! You will be soon.
Question 7. The ball can be made to go over someone's head in the American twist variety of this action, which Bill Tilden perfected. What is this action?
What?
What can you do to make the ball go over someone's head in this particular action? What are you doing when you do this? This action is generally performed in a platform or pinpoint stance. What is the action? Not backspin, not a swing. Jack Kramer pioneered an aggressive strategy which paired this action with a follow-up volley. What is this action?
This all sounds like some sort of sports that I have no interest in.
It's not bowling. It's not bowling. It's not a lob. No. A rule change in 1961 allowed a jump to be performed along with this action. That's the one. That's the one,
where's my
Alan.
chat gone?
Yay. That's the one, Farmer's Boy. Yes, well done.
Foxy game.
No, Timbo, it's not a smash.
No,
It's not baseball pitching, no. Winning a
Definitely
game in
tennis,
which an
though.
opponent winning a game in which an opponent performs this action is called a break.
Yes.
Makes sense now, doesn't it, Farmer's Boy?
I really can't stand the game, but I do know something about it.
Yeah. Lets and foot faults can nullify this action, which is called an ace if the returner fails to put his racket on it. What is this action? And we have Larry DeMarch out there and Clive Wells follows up nicely with a tennis serve or a serve. Yes. That's the one. Ivo Kanovic and Milos Raonic heavily rely on what opening shot in tennis? It is the serve. Yeah.
I overthought that one.
It's quite something when they can serve a tennis ball at 140 odd miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that. Bloody hell.
If you can serve it so fast that the other person just can never get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Only the trouble is those top class players can't they?
Exactly. Yes, they can.
Question 8. This quantity is multiplied by a displacement vector inside a line integral for the expression of magnetic field. Don't overthink this one. What quantity is it? The density of this quantity is given by the product of conductivity and the electrical field. Whitsett should be an expert on this. It's electrostatics, right? Oh dear. The Biot-Savart law gives the magnetic field for a system as proportional to this quantity. What is this quantity? It's not magnetic flux. No. It's not Tesla. The energy radiated by a resistor is proportional to the magnitude of this quantity squared. What is this quantity? Not induction. No. That's the one, Big Blue. Well done. Followed closely by Alan Evans. Well done. And out in the peanuts, well done, Clive Wells. It is the current or the
Oh,
electric current. Yes. The
well
direction
done.
of the primary charge carrier determines the direction of this quantity, whose antiderivative with respect to time is charge. How many charges per second is the current, right? Name this quantity measured in amperes, the rate of flow of electrical charge is electric current. Yay. Question 9. The subjects of this ritual are obligated to lay tefillin after it occurs. What is this ritual? Although it is increasingly uncommon, this ritual may also be practiced by 83-year-old men. What is it? Not premature enunciation.
I haven't got it
Oh,
spelt
dear.
right, but it starts with that letter.
I know what you mean. That's appalling spelling. Oh dear. After this ritual, its subjects must follow 613 holy laws. What is this ritual?
I got to look up the right spelling now.
You do. Oh dear. Monetary gifts that are multiples of 18 are favoured during this ritual. What is it? It's not gazing at boobs. It's not an exorcism or a circumcision. But you're on the right religion there with circumcision. That's the right spelling, Timbo, yeah.
Is it something like? Is it that?
It is that, Farmer's Boy. Well done. While some modern branches require this ritual's participants to write a research paper, its subject is usually called upon to recite parts of the Torah. And that's the one, Dora. Well done. The Bar Mitzvah. Followed closely by Spooky Bed Hair out there. Yeah, it occurs on the first Shabbat after its subject's 12th or 13th birthday. Name this Jewish coming-of-age ritual. It is the Bar Mitzvah. Yay.
Weird.
All right, question 10, your last question for the day. The Lambertian model treats the product of this process as a Gaussian distribution to explain its diffuse type. Don't be fooled by the complications of the first clue. This is a simple thing.
Yeah.
This process can cause a 180-degree phase shift at certain types of boundaries. What is this process?
Oh, that's how you spell it. Anyway.
Doppler.
That's right.
No. Oh, that's it. That's creative, Timbo. Doppler. D-O-B-L-A. Alan's got it correct.
Yeah.
Well done, Alan.
It was the subject of my degree final
Yeah.
project, so you know.
Okay. Well done. then.
Fiber optics.
Above a critical angle defined by the arc sine of two indices of refraction, this process can be limited to a single medium, which is the operating principle of fiber optics. What is this thing? We have a correct answer out in the peanuts and in the internal. It is indeed reflection. Well done, Clive Wells. The specular type of this process has the same value for its namesake angle and the angle of incidence. So the angle of reflection and the angle of incidence are the same in specular reflection. Name this process that comes in a total internal form and is typically formed with a mirror. It is a reflection. Yay. And that was your
Quiz.
quiz for the day.
Well done. Well
Thank you
done.
very much.
And for those of you that just need a little bit of refreshing,
That's better.
there you go, just to cleanse your minds again.
Talk about buoyancy.
Cleanse your mind? I don't think so.
There you go. That was your quiz for the day.
Actually, no, my mind was quite clean because I kept thinking of the word soap. Can't think why.
Oh, thanks for that, Paul.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you, Paul. Oh.
Did you get all the questions right there?
No, I found he got quite a few wrong myself, but you know.
I was pleasantly surprised how well I did this week. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, you did all right. Yeah.
But thanks for asking me questions I knew the answers to.
That always
Yeah,
helps,
good.
yeah. Yeah.
Could I get an extra point if people DM me their answer and then I'll spell check it for them, and then if they get the spelling right?
It's how I should DM. All my answers need to go past Terry first.
Yeah.
He's got to work out what I'm saying now. So he's got what did I write for bar mitzvah? BAMITMA. Bamima.
IT.
Bamima.
Oh yeah, blimey.
Bamima.
Yeah.
Bamima.
And I love your version of the Doppler effect.
Dobler.
D-O-B-L-A. Doppler.
Dobler.
Oh dear.
Well, as in cut me own throat, Dobler.
Dibbler. That was Dibbler.
Yeah, always close
Okay,
enough. Oh dear.
Yeah, Doppler doesn't really get you a phase shift; it just gets you a frequency.
No. It was when he got the next one I worked at. It was in reflection. Well, I was thinking it was total internal reflection, but then it's just reflection.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in electronics, when you've got wire cables, not even fiber optics, there's a piece of test equipment called with the wonderful name of time domain reflectometer.
Yeah.
And it will not only tell you where the line has been, where the cable has been broken distance-wise, but it will also tell you whether it's been broken with a short circuit or an open circuit. Because it fires a pulse down the line, and when it gets to the discontinuity, it is reflected. And if it is short circuit, I believe that's when it's reflected out of phase.
Ah.
But it is 40 years since I did it, so and it's 25 years since I did my degree, so it might be the other way around. Is Zoom working properly, or have I crashed it?
No.
Working
I think
right.
it just got quiet.
Everything's just gone quiet. I'm wondering what's going on.
Well, Terry, does that
Yeah.
mean I can have a quick 5 minutes to have a quick chat about what's going to happen on Tuesday?
Well, I gave you permission to have time, so if you can work out time, that'll be.
Yeah, well, time. Seems good now. So on Tuesday, there is going to be a partial solar eclipse here where I am, and across most of Northwest Europe. And I'm not going to have time to be able to get some solar filter. So chucking that on the camera is not an option. And of course, I have no wish to point a camera lens directly at the sun because I know that I won't have much camera left afterwards.
Yeah, we all know what happened to a camera once that did.
I've shown the photographs on here before, haven't I? About $3,000 worth of damage. If you if you've just got to pay for the parts.
I mean, focusing sunlight onto delicate parts of a camera lens is probably not a good idea, is it?
No. So I was thinking, how am I going to observe it? And I actually remembered back to something I saw when I was in school to observe a partial eclipse, essentially making a camera obscura.
Yeah.
Pinhole
With a
camera.
pinhole. Well, you wouldn't make it a camera. You would use it more like a camera obscura in that you would look into it to see
Right.
the image being projected inside.
Yeah.
Which you can then photograph.
Yeah, I
But-
did that in 2017.
I was I was just wondering what sort of focal length people would suggest that I use, because I'm quite lucky at the moment. I have a rather large box that I can use. Nice big long one.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my suggestion, Alan. From having
it's
done
one-
it myself in 2017, I did it myself, and I'll tell you right now, either go big or go home, because if you don't have enough focal length, all you're going to do is end up with what I had, which is like a 10 millimeter diameter little dot of light, which is worth
Yeah.
the shit. I mean, you really can't do anything with it.
Well, that'll give me 1.2 meters of focal length.
Yeah, that'd probably work.
And at 1.2 meters, I don't need a particularly small pinhole, because the optimal diameter pinhole, according to a design calculator that I found, is 1.47 millimeters. And a pinhole that size is really easy to make in a piece of tinfoil, or aluminum foil, as you Americans would call it.
Incorrectly.
And we call
Yeah.
it aluminium foil. We only say
Alan, do you
aluminum to piss you guys off.
Alan, do you have a window that faces the right direction and a room that you could block off? Because you can turn a room into a camera obscura if you block off a window and put a hole in it in the cardboard. Yeah.
I know.
It's going to be highly dependent on the elevation of the sun at the time.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right. You have to
Whether
have
it's
some-
projecting on a wall or a ceiling or a floor or whatever.
Actually, that's actually not such a bad idea, because I've just realized the elevation is 17.6 to 24.6 degrees. And
Pinhole up close to the top of the window, and you might get it to work.
but the direction's the problem, because it's actually I think even the direction might be good, because it's 141 to 168 degrees.
Yeah, might work.
That
That's
might actually work in my bedroom.
You have to do a
There's
dry
someone
run.
done one in it.
You have to do a dry run
Yeah.
at the same time when the sun is.
Yeah, because
There's someone that's
earlier on I was whining like buggery because the sun was being really bright as I'm sitting here. Yes, that's because I'm sitting here facing the window at the time of day when the eclipse is going to happen.
Oh, what day is this?
Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Tuesday.
It's going to happen in 2 days, 20 hours, 22 minutes and 6 seconds.
That's your Tuesday, not our Tuesday.
That is my Tuesday. It's at it for my location. The partial eclipse begins at 10:07:03 BST. Maximum eclipse is at 1142 seconds.
I think we have the eclipse on the 7th of November. Well, I could be wrong. I'm just looking at it.
It's Stewie, it's not a chainsaw, mate. It's just a hedge trimmer. and unfortunately, putting that newfangled petrol in it really didn't help, because it turns out it had a plastic carburetor.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that problem here.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I shall try and see if I can turn the whole room into a camera obscura.
It was just a thought.
Although it might be easier but it depends on how much light I can block out, which is the tricky bit.
And if it's overcast or not too, which would ruin it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could end up with the unfortunate position of I don't see anything because it's cloudy as buggery.
yeah.
Farmer might be able to do it.
Yeah, but we are in the hands of the the weather gods. And given the weather we've been having recently, I mean, actually, ironically now, I mean, it's bright out there, but there's an awful lot of very thin, high-level cloud. Tomorrow, it's going to piss it down all day. Monday, it's brightening up. Tuesday, yeah, it actually looks the best day of the week. So, don't know. We'll have to see.
Actually, yeah, I mean, looking at the meteorological office for my location, it's due to be clear up to about lunchtime, so up to about 12.
Yeah,
So
never know your luck.
that might be good. Certainly better than tomorrow and Monday.
Yeah. Tomorrow's supposed to be absolutely dire,
which is going to make doing any tests awkward, of course.
Yes.
I put a shot of what I got in the Discord there, Alan.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah, because my difficulty is I can get the focal length out of it, but then because the box is about 25 centimeters square, my field of view is going to be limited to about 10 or 11, about 12 degrees. Maybe about 16 or 17 across the diagonal. So I have to figure out then some way of tracking the whole lot with a camera stuck in it round to follow the sun.
Yeah, you just got to wiggle the box around till you get the image on the back side of it where you're trying to project it. It's not easy.
Yeah. And I was wondering which would be. I was actually thinking it might be easy to chop a little bit of focal length off it, put a translucent sheet in there, and actually photograph it from behind through the bottom.
Yeah. Piece of wax paper or something.
Yeah. Good, because the nice thing about the box is that it opens down down the length of it.
Yeah.
So I can open it up, put all the stuff in it, and then just close the box up.
Well, the mistake I made was not trying it before the day of the damn eclipse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I only found out last night that there was the eclipse happening.
Yeah. You're about to get hemmed in with the same problem.
Mind you, once I've built it, I've always got it available at for another occasion, haven't I?
Yeah, the box is going to be always flat packed.
Hey, I could even try sticking film in it and using it as an actual pinhole camera. I can have it can have a decently big zoom lens, can't it?
Yeah.
Well, at least that's given me some stuff to think about. Thanks, guys. So what you got next for us, Terry?
Are we going to watch the video?
Yep. Go for it. Pick one.
Number 4.
I got
Number the what? The one after 3.
I got Everett Anderson's Flat Earth are Triggered by Gravity, or
I think there was somebody earlier hoping you might cover his video, wasn't there?
Yeah, I've got that lined up as well. Something to do with Flat Earth Ozzie Jesus, of all things.
Ooh.
Flat Earth Jesus in Antarctica on a UFO.
Oh, that's not Flat Earth Aussie Jesus.
Oh, Flat Earth Jesus. Okay.
Yes, that's
Earth
not.
Jesus.
What's he calling himself now? Iron Horse. Yeah, it's not
Now, you
him.
wanted me to give credit to it somehow, and I'm trying to figure out how I'd have to.
Oh, just put a credit
play
to
it.
the music in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. The Techoax.
Yeah, I was just looking in the
Technovax.
in his description underneath it to see if I could copy something from there.
I'll just copy it from the Discord.
Yeah, you wrote. What did he put? He put something there. What do you write? Just add a line to Technoax.
The music.
Oh, I don't know what actual line I'd have to write. Format. I don't
That's
know
right.
what
Technoax did the music. That's all he wants to do.
Yeah, I don't know how to format the sentence. Well, credit to Technoax for the music.
That'll do.
Yeah.
That'll be all. That'll be it. Okay.
Yeah, in the section where you're playing
Yeah.
things video.
No, just in the description part underneath. Where did I put it? Where'd it go? Okay.
Hey, you should have some decent derp on Wednesday, Terry.
Mm.
It's
The
Flattoberfest. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Mm.
That'll make it interesting.
Coming to you literally from the home of the Freemasons.
The Stokers.
The Shriners.
Shriners, that's the one word I was looking for. Stokers.
Yeah. Not all Freemasons are Shriners, but all Shriners are Freemasons.
Masons, yep.
Oh, geez, not this idiot.
Oh, is he an idiot? I've seen him before somewhere.
Bloody chilly.
Des nuts, yeah. Yeah, chilly. Arrogant. Arrogant, illegitimate son of a...
Okay. What's it? Is there any title? Just something in Antarctica on a UFO. I've got no context for that.
It won't be about him, he'll just be at the start.
What is going on out there in the land of YouTube? What's going on?
This intro has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the video.
That's what...
Good day, gentle people. If you're new to the channel, I'm Mr42. Hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back to the channel. I'm your favorite Mr42. Today we're gonna look at some random stupidity from random clips. Let's start off with this one. That is a short from someone who cannot count and hopes nobody would notice. Stay in school, kids. Let's quickly move on. Before I continue, I need to debunk one of the comments, where someone claims the painting in question is not found on Google and is adamant about it. Go to Google, click on Images, type the name of the painting, which can be found in the description of the video, type the location of the painting, which can also be found in the description of the video, press enter and voila! The painting is here and here. You can almost hear Trevonius cry.
But you only found 2.
Well yes, but you claimed I wouldn't find it at all. Finding just one proves you wrong. Do we have to do this? Well, okay. This is clearly a cloud. This is a cloak, similar to what the people on the ground are wearing, and you can even see his toes underneath it. Some people just see what they want to see. Next video, please.
It is flat. Prove me wrong. Model of flat Earth, which is proof it's flat.
Eclipses won't work. Day and night do not match what you observe. Seasons won't happen. And a whole lot more.
This explains everything, and now you know you've been lied to.
Yeah, how the eclipses
Let that nonsense over. And now for something completely different. I have a second YouTube channel. But not really. Let me explain. On my Discord server, discord.mr482.yt, I have my very own bot, named Deep Thought. I suspect it began semi-sentient at some point. My first indication was when it hacked into my Google account and added a YouTube channel. But nothing happened, so I left it at that. But recently it began to download a few hundred gigabytes of data every day and spit out a video or two every month. That is scary. Anyway, here are 2 little samples of what you can expect from it. Please subscribe to Deep Thought if you're interested. Link is in the description. Are we okay now? You won't kill me again?
I wonder if that's the music he's talking about. Daytime? Nighttime. That's the Himawari one, I think, isn't it? By the angle.
TV created the Gary bot, which is a complete and utter failure. I'm quite happy with this result actually.
Now, if you're not aware, there's some serious problems with Antarctica.
Oh, God, this guy's a moron.
And when you really start looking into this continent, things get really weird. Like, why are they naming places Dome? Dome Argus, Valkyrie Dome, Dome A, Dome C. I don't know.
Come on dude, you can use Google. Or you're as stupid as the other guy. Ah, that's probably it actually. An ice dome is a part of an ice cap or ice sheet that is characterized by upstanding ice surface located in the accumulation zone. Ice domes are nearly symmetrical with a convex or parabolic surface shape.
Maybe there's a dome out there, but does anybody know who this guy is? Or this guy right here?
Captain
Anybody
Cook.
know who this guy is? These two handsome guys are Captain Cook and James Clark Ross. They circumnavigated Antarctica, and get this, the Antarctic shoreline, we're told, is about 11,000 to 12,000 miles, and when these guys circumnavigated, it took them 60,000 miles and up to 3 to 4 years.
During his famous second
to
voyage, he
circumnavigate.
circumnavigated the planet at a high southern latitude, and in the process unknowingly circumnavigated Antarctica. He nearly came across Antarctica's mainland, only to head to Tahiti for more supplies for his ship. And that is quite a different story than you are trying to lie about.
Are you seeing the problems that I have with this continent again? It's not a
The problem there is honesty. You don't have it.
continent. It's an ice wall that surrounds us. It's about 200 feet tall and, again, about 50 to 60,000 miles long.
Another blatant lie.
But what's this up here? Antarctica Treaty. Huh. The Antarctic Treaty. You mean this one that's completely stopping anyone from independently exploring the Antarctic wall?
Seriously, you can go there. Just dress warm. Be prepared.
Seeing if there's more resources and land out there, like Admiral Byrd suggested.
Now you've got a point. The resources are indeed protected. But if you want to look for more land, go ahead. Nobody will stop you. You won't find any, except under the ice.
That's the exact treaty that I'm talking about. And it literally writes right in it that the provisions of the present treaty shall apply to the area south of the 60th south latitude, which is this black line right here. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. We are being gate kept. We're being gate kept in here by NASA for over 50 years.
By NASA? What do they have to do with it? They're not in the treaty.
Here's another, thing to think about the North and South Pole. They should be pretty similar due to the tilt of the Earth and it precessing and orbiting. But one's in water and one's on ice.
One's on water and one's on land, you mean? And the tilt of the Earth has nothing to do with that fact.
And the North Pole can sustain life pretty well, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of things living out in Antarctica other than some penguins hanging out on the edge. And by edge, I mean over here and in places I don't even think that this is possible. I think only here where they'll take you on these little trips that cost $10,000.
The existence of land has a big influence on the local climate. Do you know nothing? Oh, sorry, stupid question.
So don't ever ask another flat earther again when anybody's going to be sailing off the edge of the Earth or where it is, because there is no edge to the Earth. All we know is there's an ice wall surrounding us that we're not allowed to go explore.
So in conclusion, you know absolutely nothing. You are stupid. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video enough to hit that like and subscribe button. In the description you'll find more information. This has been Mr. 42, out. Don't panic.
Yeah, don't panic. Whatever you do.
I'm doing my next video. My next video is on Cook's Voyages, and it should be out by Wednesday. So I know that all that is absolute rubbish that he just said.
Well, yeah, they include, they mention the complete distance of a voyage.
Yeah, from England to England.
Exactly. They don't mention the fact that he set out from England. He came all the way down the Atlantic, and then at some point had to go all the way back again. And they go, oh, look, he did all these thousands of miles, but they say Antarctica's only this big. Yeah, you're quoting the entire journey, the entire round trip.
Yeah.
But, I mean, why let reality get in the way of utter bullshit that TikTok let you put out?
And it wasn't one ship too, it was two ships. And because it was a whole big expedition to find the southern continent. Yeah. The Discovery and the other one, I can't think of it. And
of course, none of that was the primary reason for his first trip, was it?
His first trip was to find something, and he happened to come across Australia, which was really handy for them at the time. They sort of knew something was.
He was heading out to the South Pacific to do the sighting of the transit of Venus, was it not?
Yeah.
Yeah, but his secret mission was to find the southern continent.
Yeah, but that was his primary mission. That's what he was going out to do, and obviously he did other things on the way.
Because otherwise he would have just come back the same way. But he kept going west until he found the east coast of Australia. Well, he found New Zealand first, but then he found the east coast.
Because we already knew that there was a west and northwest side of Australia, but it wasn't known any further along than that.
Yeah, so they knew there had to be something somewhere there because they.
Yeah, there was just partial mapping
how big it was
of the west and northwest coast.
So that's why he doesn't go to Australia in his second journey. He goes right down to the bottom of Africa, then he heads south to see what he runs into, and he finds the two boats find the ice shelf, and they get water, but they never actually find land. Not the continent. They do find some of the islands, but they don't actually ever get to the continent because obviously it's surrounded by ice at that time. Then he goes. Then they work out that if we keep going, we should run into the bottom of South America, which they do. So they get there, then they turn around and go down the other side trying to find it, and end up. They didn't have as much success, but then they head off to Tahiti because they didn't find anything. So they go back to New Zealand and back up to Tahiti, and then wander their way back up to England. So yeah, about 3 years.
Yeah.
Most of that is wandering around the Pacific.
Yeah, and the crew kept saying to him, "Are we there yet?
We there yet? We there yet? Dad, we there yet?"
Actually, most of the people liked Cook and they were nicer than some of the captains at the time. But
Oh, we did partial exploration back in the day with Cook and a few others.
Yeah. Well, then there's another third journey, but I won't go into that one. But you can see my video next week. Hopefully by Wednesday, should have it ready.
I'd have to go back through my videos and see what one, how long ago that was.
Even give you a preview. I think I've got. Let's do a preview. I've got some images.
Who we got here? A flat Earth is triggered by gravity. Okay.
Yep. Oh, that's an easy question. Can I play the video?
So I've been finding my community on here, which feels really good. I know we're everywhere, far and wide, on this ball.
Oh shit! There goes the planet.
But every time we talk about, let's say, flat Earth, people just attack. You ever notice that?
Somebody call the ambulance.
It's never like, hey, you're not thinking about this fact, or you're not thinking about this information.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
It's this guy's an idiot. Go back to school. Wow, are you serious? This has to be a joke.
And who's that? Oh yes, me!
Reverse the roles, and I'm trying to convince you that we're on a ball flying Mach speed, and water isn't flying everywhere because of a mysterious element called gravity. Doesn't that sound silly?
Element.
Tell you the truth, this guy's starting to get on my nerves.
It's beyond hilarious. People don't have any common sense. Well, if you don't know what's going on, they're saying that I don't have any common sense.
Oh yes, of course. How very, very awful.
There's lakes that sit perfectly still. No waves, no vibrations, and that's common sense. That's how it's supposed to be. We're doing Mach speeds, we're spinning, but water in a lake, in a pond, can stay perfectly still, motionless.
Why shouldn't it?
What if I said yes?
I'm so silly. Oh my god, I have no common sense. This guy doesn't believe that we're doing Mach speeds and the North Star is always visible no matter which way we're spinning and facing on the point of the Earth that we are. We can always see the North Star. No common sense over here.
You catch on pretty quick.
It's amazing that we even argue about this stuff anymore. NASA has patents saying, yes, this applies to a flat, non-rotating Earth.
Okay, really? We're gonna go here now? Seriously?
What are you gonna say at this point? How bad do you want the Earth to be a ball that's flying through space, that's infinite, and it keeps expanding? How the fuck do we know that?
Well, help yourself to a fucking science book, because you're talking like a fucking retard.
But listen, NASA says the Earth is flat, non-rotating, stationary. Not me. Don't yell at me. Yell at NASA. Yell at the people who lied to you, the government.
Oh, NASA, jeez.
And this is the point where he goes.
Whoever started this NASA thing off.
Like, why is this everyone's go-to? You don't understand gravity. Gravity is a theory.
Oh dear.
It's a theory, is it? Well, I'll drop a brick on me foot.
It's a theory that's agreed upon. It's a mysterious force. Look up the definition for gravity, guys. It's just fucking math.
What is wrong with you? Were you dropped on your head?
There's nothing to hold down the truth of gravity. Whoa, drop an apple. Because an apple's more dense than oxygen. That's why an apple falls to the earth.
Wow, did you read that in an article?
Nope, I do all my own research.
Not a mysterious force that we all throw around to pretend we're more equipped with scientific knowledge than the next person. Gravity, guys.
Don't worry, Skrull. Now there are plenty of tards out there living really kick-ass lives. My first wife was tarded. She's a pilot now.
Well, there's our resident.
Electrolytes.
Resident Flurf has turned up. You're a bit late, Gary. Where's your late note? Oh, yeah, Dora. Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't streamed for a while, that guy. I'd like to...
Yeah.
I'll put his link in the description, out there for you before I grab the other video. Where was he? I'll just get his channel.
Okay, I wanted to make a
There you go. There, Dora. Jazzler 111. Well, we've got a part 2 of Space Mat's China on the Moon, Timbo.
Oh, okay, cool. I got 4 subs out of that. I was very pleased. Nearly 25% increase almost.
If you know if you get any more,
Well, I would have.
you know if you get any more subs than what I get, Timbo, you're not allowed back here.
I think you're a bit safe. I'm sort of 20 times that. I get about 20 times as many as I've got now to get close to you, Terry.
Where am I?
I can always hope that one of my videos goes viral.
Yeah, you want one to go viral, and that'll kick you up.
I would have subbed to you off the back of that video, Timbo, but there was a little problem. I would have had to unsub first.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the thing is most people I know are already subbed.
I like the comment Stewie just put.
All the important gun.
Gamer Pile Venga. What level of undiluted pish are you going to present as flat Earth evidence today?
Yeah.
Was Gary good at ad homs, is he?
Oh, he usually has a few for me.
But you've never said a bad word to him.
One.
Well, I don't know that that's strictly true. What's that thing about being a left coast pole smoker? But other than that,
a what? A left coast pole smoker? I got no idea what that means.
Right, there they were.
Which state's Gary in?
Confusion. The state of confusion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, the state of bewilderment.
State of denial, state of confusion. He alternates back and forth.
He plays.
That's something like being a dead dingo's dog.
He plays with cows' udders all day, doesn't he?
Not quite.
Oh, okay. As long as he doesn't mistake his cows for bulls, That's the main thing.
Yeah, fools get a bit upset by that.
Yeah. You getting the band back together yet, Gary? Where was I? Oh yeah, I was over here.
One or two couldn't take it and they snapped.
That was a bit of a stretch.
Ah. Well, I think if we all pull together.
I just thought I'd get you on the rebound.
Yeah.
Does different coloured rubber bands depict different perspective?
Well, different coloured light globes do. Push play, please, Terry.
We're going to listen to his intro.
Well, I can't do push play.
Good point.
Hi, Matt here, and welcome to M2M and this
hi,
episode
Matt.
of
How
Quick
you
Questions. I had a question posted on my Discord from Timbo Total, and he asks,
Who?
We don't hear much about what the Chinese are finding on the moon. Have they found anything interesting? Well, yes, Timbo, as a matter of fact, they did, and I'm pretty sure I can answer this in under 3 minutes. But before I do, Timbo Total has his own channel where he debunks flat Earth things. So go check out his channel, maybe give him a sub and let him know who sent you. So let's answer this question. Start the clock. In 2019, the Chinese National Space Administration, or CSNA, as I call it from now on in, landed a probe called Chang'e 4 on the far side of the moon. It then deployed a little rover called U2 number 2, or U22. Not long after the rover deployed and started taking photos, one image caused something of a stir among both the scientific community and especially among our conspiracy theory friends, and what appeared to be an oblong-shaped object on the lunar surface, which was labelled by the CSNA as the Mystery Shed. Theories as to what it was were both wild and weird, including alien buildings. But of course the CSNA were going to investigate this strange object. So without further ado, controllers commanded U22 to make a series of manoeuvres to get it within better visual range to find out what it was. Well, the final image did satisfy that it wasn't a building or anything oblong in shape, but it was a rock that resembled something the shape of a rabbit. Well, of course, I'm sure this created even more wild theories. Another discovery of more scientific nature found that as the U2 rover moved around the lunar surface, it was noticed that the rover's wheels were slipping far less than on the near side of the moon, which suggested that this part of the moon was flatter in geography compared to the near side. It was also noted that the craters seemed to be smaller on average than on the near side, but most of those craters appeared to be secondary impacts from the larger impact craters rather than separate impacts themselves. There also seemed to be more craters than the near side, but it was thought that this wasn't from more impacts rather than the near side had much more volcanic activity in the early years of the moon's life, washing out, for want of a better phrase, many of the craters on that side. Further
Sorry, this is number 2 of his question, so it is the one we did last week. So it's not part 2; it's number 2. But if you want to keep up playing, I'll leave that with you.
to that, it was found that the lunar dust seemed to be clumping more readily on the wheels of the rover, more like soil. And after some analysis, it was found that this lunar soil on this side of the moon seemed to be stickier in nature compared to the near side of the moon. According to this New Scientist article, the Chinese scientists had claimed they had discovered more about the nature of this soil, but declined to comment any further for whatever reason. So I hope this answers your question, Timbo. Stop the clock. So that's all from me. Until the next time, stay safe.
You did answer my question. Thanks, mate.
Twice. So you get 2 shout outs.
Yeah. Let's see if we get another 4 subs.
Yeah.
Maybe the same 4 people will unsub and resub again.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Which that one got 3 Antons. Right. Okay. Share the guys. Now, they seem to be all star related this time. So that, not the word. Space related, sorry. Record-breaking binary star with an orbit of 51 minutes solves a mystery. That one. Then we've got strange galactic jet hitting another galaxy is creating unexpected effects. Or a strange ripple structure or structures found at the edge of the solar system. I think that one might be more interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, I like that one. Anyone disagree?
No, go for it.
Yeah, that one sounds interesting. Since we're never going to go there.
Yeah.
In our lifetime.
This is Anton, and today we're going to be discussing some new discoveries in regards to our own sun, or I guess more specifically in regards to the effects our sun creates as it creates various solar winds that then go around the solar system, forming this unusual region that we refer to as a heliosphere, a kind of a protective shell that seems to shield the entire solar system from a lot of various types of radiation coming from the outside, while at the same time also creating a lot of other effects we're still trying to learn about. Something that also defines the solar system itself. Basically, once you leave the heliosphere, you're considered to be in the interstellar space, and that's where both Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 probes currently are located. And speaking of the probes, you might have heard that Voyager 1 was experiencing a few problems a few months ago. It was sending unusual glitches back to planet Earth, and the scientists were worried that maybe the mission was over. By the way, this link that you can find in the description shows you a lot of different statistics about the missions and basically explains everything that they've been doing, all of the instruments that they have on board, shows you the approximate location of both probes compared to the rest of the solar system, and reminds you that they've been active for over 45 years. According to my channel statistics, that's much older than most of my viewers, including myself. But not so long ago, the scientists behind this mission were able to finally solve the glitch. Turns out some of the telemetry data was unfortunately sent to the broken computer. For some reason there was a malfunction inside the probe, and it was actually relaying a lot of the data to the computer that was no longer working. But by switching the modules, the scientists think that now it's back to functioning normally, and back to sending regular data, which the scientists are hoping is going to be doing for at least 5 more years, making this the longest and the most impressive mission NASA has ever launched. Here's actually the video of the original launch of both of the missions back in 1977. But one of the more impressive discoveries in the last 10 years was made by both probes when they officially left the solar system, or when they essentially crossed the termination shock, passed the helio sheath, and entered the region that we refer to as the interstellar space. Basically the space that we find right here in between various stars. Now this particular region we still don't really understand very well, but we know that there's definitely a lot more radiation there, there's also a lot more gas, but because of the pressure from the solar radiation from the solar wind, a lot of this is expelled as the sun travels around the galaxy, which then creates the bull shock you see right there. There's a really good way of visualizing this by basically looking at the tap and the effects it creates on the sink. This right here is the sun, we have the flow coming from the sun, which is the solar winds, this is the termination shock, and then there's all of this really unusual activity where the actual flow slows down, which tends to create a lot of turbulence and a lot of unusual bubbling and wave-like effects. And this is actually a really good model for what the scientists recently discovered. the actual effects that we see in the sink, for example, seem to parallel what really happens out there in the interstellar space as well. But 10 years ago, when Voyager 1 probe was officially crossing this particular region, not a lot was known about it, and the scientists actually had no idea what happens around the Sun, mostly basing all of their knowledge on various simulations and various mathematical models. However, Voyager 1 reached the termination shock and the heliosheath in 2004, and then crossed the heliopause in 2012, at a distance of approximately 122 astronomical units away from the Sun. Whereas the Voyager 2 did the same a few years later, entering the termination shock in 2007 and leaving the heliosheath in 2015. But this was much closer, at 109 astronomical units, which to the scientists already suggested that there is definitely something going on with the shape of the heliosphere, and that it's unlikely to be perfectly spherical like the scientists previously imagined. On top of this, in the last few years, they've discovered a lot of other things, including the unusually hot hydrogen wall that we've discussed in one of the older videos, basically the firewall that you kind of see right here. But more importantly, discovering that, for some reason, the heliosheath has actually changed in size since the original passage of Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. And not by a little bit, by like several astronomical units, or basically several times the distance of the Sun to planet Earth. For example, for Voyager 1, it was at 122 AU before, but 4 years later, it was at least 9 AU larger. That's more than the distance of the Sun to planet Saturn. For Voyager 2, things were even more complicated. It could have been anywhere from 103 astronomical units to 119 astronomical units, with a lot of parts of the heliosheath either being somewhat broken, or potentially having weird holes in them, or basically not being straight or not being spherical at all. But then, a few years ago, the scientists using a different type of a probe, actually a completely different mission, were able to discover something else using a very brilliant technique. They were using NASA's mission known as IBEX, Interstellar Boundary Explorer, a mission that's been active for over a decade now, and that essentially is responsible for measuring the total pressure coming from the solar wind, but also is able to measure something entirely different. It's able to measure the particles that are reflected from the heliosheath and tend to return back into the inner solar system, thus allowing this mission to create a kind of a map that's able to detect the high energy particles reflected from the heliosheath as they try to leave the solar system, which is kind of equivalent to what I guess bats do. It's a type of echolocation. We have solar wind and solar particles going out, moving across the solar system, and then returning back into the inner solar system, where they're captured by this probe and allowed to then create a kind of a three-dimensional map. And there was a major breakthrough for this probe back in 2014 when the Sun increased its solar activity, or the pressure from the solar wind, by approximately 50%. And because of this increase, it allowed the scientists to produce an extremely accurate map of most of the heliosphere surrounding the solar system, and it's actually not spherical at all. It seems to be something like this, a kind of a croissant shape, which we've discussed in one of the older videos from about 2 years ago. This is when this official discovery was made because of all of the data collected over the years. So back then this was the official shape of the solar system, which the scientists back then compared to the other star systems we've observed from other regions, like this one right here, or this one right here. So this is maybe what the solar system looks like from a distance. But none of this explains the differences between the measurements from Voyager probes and the differences from IBEX in terms of the actual size of the heliosphere. Why exactly did it change in size anywhere from 9 to 15 AU in certain locations of the solar system? And more importantly, was there something else going on here? The answer is yes, and this new study kind of gives us a bit of a clue here. It's not entirely clear yet what exactly is happening, but the scientists now believe that there's definitely something going on here that makes the shape of the termination shock and the heliosphere change over time, just like the bubbles and the ripples you would see here. In other words, there seems to be always an increase or a decrease in pressure coming from the Sun, which create these unusual ripples and unusual changes in the heliopause, with various pressure waves creating all kinds of wavy and bubbly activity on the surface, with some of these ripples very likely being huge in size. We're talking about astronomical unit size. I guess another way of imagining this is as a kind of a humongous tsunami-like wave that travels on the surface of this, and is basically formed by the pressure coming from the solar wind, making the surface of the heliosphere very likely appear something like this, or possibly even more dramatic than this. Or of course suggesting that not only is this not spherical, but is shaped sort of like this, but this particular shape is definitely not constant and is definitely constantly changing, rippling around, moving around, and producing all sorts of effects as well. And I mean, this is maybe not the best example I can give you, but it really looks like some kind of a jellyfish. Something that's wriggling around, something that's really constantly moving, and something that's producing pressure and waves on the surface because of various changes coming from within the sun and because of changes in the solar pressure and the solar wind. At least that's what we think is happening. In reality, all this is a completely new discovery, with these massive ripples being an even bigger surprise, and so nobody really knows what's happening here, and we're probably not going to know more until at least 2025. Because NASA is launching another really important mission to study all of this and to try to understand what our sun is doing and how it's affecting the rest of the solar system. A mission known as IMAP, whose main purpose is going to extend on what IBEX has been doing and to try to use very similar effects of echolocation, or basically reflecting the solar wind as it comes back from the edge of the solar system, to try to map all of this even better, and to try to answer these unusual questions about these strange wrinkly bubbles, this very unusual croissant shape, and to of course finally figure out exactly what our solar system looks like from the outside. Is it like this? Or is it something entirely different that we can't even imagine yet? At the moment though, these are definitely super exciting discoveries, mostly because we actually are learning about the solar system as we've never imagined it to be. For the longest time we always thought it was just a spherical, a kind of a comet-like shape, basically something like this, but it's definitely not. And the fact that it's not this makes this a pretty big mystery. And if it actually does look like this, the question is why? Does our sun also have these unusual polar emissions like you see in this image? Are there any other emissions that we still don't know about? And do these emissions have any effect on planet Earth? All of this is definitely going to be answered by this mission in 2025, but until then, I guess we can only rely on some of the older data coming from Voyager probes and coming from the now pretty old IBEX mission as well. But I guess until we learn something else or until new discoveries, well, that's pretty much it. Our solar system, the entire solar system, seems to be kind of wrinkly, kind of weirdly shaped, and also seems to always change in size by quite a dramatic margin, up to about 10% within just a single year. Why though, nobody knows. We'll learn about this in some of the future videos. Subscribe, maybe share this with someone who loves learning about space and sciences, come back tomorrow to learn something else, and maybe support this channel on Patreon by joining channel membership or by buying the Wonderful Person t-shirt you can find in the description. Stay wonderful, I'll see you tomorrow, and as always, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you go.
Isn't that always the way? We get some information and then that just raises more questions.
Yes. Should stop asking questions.
Good idea.
Oh, hang on a minute. That's how you become a flat earther. Okay.
Yeah.
They ask questions, they just don't listen to answers.
They only listen to the answers they want to hear.
They always ask them. They definitely ask the wrong questions.
No, the flat earther solution to that is just stop getting new information.
Yeah.
You mean read textbooks and literature from, say, 1,000 or longer years ago?
Well, reading a textbook from last week would be an achievement.
Why have I got two Cyben downs? I finally debate a flat earther, sort of.
Well, yeah, sort of. And
Flat Earth
there you go. Because he put out 2 videos, I'm suspecting.
Okay. Well, Flat Earth Friday, that's the Flat Earth file. So the other one, I don't know what date come out because there's no date on that one.
Yeah, why does it not show dates on some of these videos? It's a real pain in the bum. Tommy Tom.
Well, he debates a flat earther sort of, but it looks like it's just in texts.
It is.
Yeah, he wasn't a very good debate.
In text is not very good anyway.
No.
Oh.
But just
even this one not very good.
Nah.
Oh, flat earth failed then.
I guess it could be hard finding new failure that's of a similar quality to the old failure.
Mm. Well, I think it's just...
They really need to pick their... Sorry, Terry.
I was just going to say, I think it's more fun going back to the good old days when it first started, and you can see what hasn't changed. What are you going to say, Al?
I was just going to say, it seems like the quality of the derp has got so much lower since they realised that so much of the stuff they say has already been debunked repeatedly over and over.
Yeah. They still try to find ways of twisting it to try to make new arguments, is what I've noticed. That's all I think they've got now. Or a phrase or a word. Let's see if we can get them on this. Yeah, right. Playing with words now.
Yeah, that's all they got.
Well, that's Bev's thing, isn't it? With these words.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's sticking to it. Okay. I'll finish off with Cyman.
Last month I published Flat Earth Fail Compilation 40, and then afterwards I posted a poll on Twitter to see if I should carry on the series. A whopping 71% of you said yes, we should carry on with the series. Only 29% of you couldn't read a question. So that is exactly what we're going to do. This is Flat Earth Fail Compilation 41. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today's video, a massive thank you to the sponsors today, Surfshark VPN. 3 months extra free. Right, back to today's Flat Earth Flail compilation, episode 41 no less, and we start with the legend that is CC, Chris from New York, Westchester County. Away we go.
In his car? No, in the kitchen.
Oh, no, it's kitchen.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County.
Look out, your missus will tell you to get out of the kitchen.
10/16/22.
And he does them when she's out.
Yeah, she's not.
You know, I bought that camera for my own interest because, I mean, I know everything is flat, and I know we live on a flat plane. I know we're covered with a dome, and everything up there, it's just an amazing light show.
Of which you have no explanation and or evidence for.
But, you know, when you actually see it for yourself, you know, and you see
what?
Stars and these fake planets that are supposedly trillions of light years away.
Nope, not trillions of light years away. That would currently be impossible.
These planets are a couple 100,000 miles away, or whatever it may be.
Wrong again. The closest a planet will ever get to us is 54.6 million kilometers, and that would be Mars.
It like sinks in, you know, and it speaks to you. You see, us flat earthers know there's a God.
Well, not all of you do. Most of you believe, not know. I agree with that, but not all of you.
That's right. Okay. God has created all of this.
God created your kitchen? I feel like if God was real, he'd sort of do a better job. I mean, that microwave looks tired at best.
God has created you. God has created what you're walking on right now.
God created my carpet? Again, I feel like he could have done a better job.
Okay, and that's what they're hiding from you. Because they don't want you to know that. That there is a higher up that created everything.
Everything? So I guess murder, AIDS, cancer, hurricanes, famine and war are included in that everything, right? Thanks, God.
They created all of this. And that is the ultimate goal. To keep it a secret. To make you think you live on some accident. That you're insignificant.
I don't think anyone is insignificant. We are all rare, special and unique. All of us.
That you have no hope.
As an atheist, I'm actually full of the stuff.
But you're far more than what you think you are. You gotta think about it. Think about when... I can get into so much, but... I mean, you know, when you really, really want something, all of a sudden, it magically appears.
1965 Shelby Mustang GT350R.
Ah, balls.
Right? Something small, like a parking spot or a meter you're pulling up to all of a sudden has change in it.
That's just
I went too big too quickly. Okay.
Oat milk cappuccino, one shot, no chocolate sprinkles.
No.
Oh, for fuck.
And it's time. Little things like that. So you're capable of a lot more than you think.
Totally agree. I mean, I ran 96 kilometers in 3 days in Fuerteventura. Link is in the description.
But everybody else wants you to make you think you're incapable of doing anything. But be a slave. So don't be a slave. Wake up. Wake up. Find yourself. Figure out what you live on.
The thing is, Chris, no one really cares about that. They will get on with their lives after laughing hysterically at flat earthers and then getting on with their day.
And understand what we live on. A flat earth. There is no space. There are no stars out there. There's nothing that's going to kill you. No meteors. Nothing. The only thing that controls you are the people that are taking your money from your pocket.
The lady in the co-op is controlling me. I only wanted a peppered steak slice.
As a slave. That's what controls you. I thank you for subbing. I thank you for viewing my videos. They've been part of your life.
No, thank you, Chris, for another gem. Right, moving on, it's our Flat Earth Fail compilation favourite Mr. Level Earth Observer. He is looking at the lunar lander. Away we go.
Have a quick look at the technology.
Did you get the thing come up that time, Palmer?
It came up. It's obviously, if it's one person at a time, it's fine. But if you get multiple people, it's a bit different, it would seem.
Okay.
And the build quality of that technology that supposedly got man to walk on the moon back in 1969. Link in the description to the full video which we're about to view. All I'm looking at is a small segment. If you want to see the rest of the video, like I say, link in the description.
Can I have that in English, Gary?
What we're about to see is some close-ups of the lunar lander, where we get to see its build quality and the technology used
he's not going there,
in all
is he?
its glory here
Oh, yes.
to supposedly get man to walk on the moon. So let's have a look. And just this shot here looks like a kid's art project. Terrible.
Does it?
It doesn't matter what it looks like, honestly. That's not evidence, that's conjecture at best.
Yeah, peel away all the coverings and everything, and then you'll see the inside structure of what's actually in there.
I could do better myself, blindfolded, having consumed a bag of wild mushrooms and not having a clue where I was or what I was doing. I could still knock something up better than this tosh.
No, you really couldn't, Leo. I doubt you could without any of those things. In fact, I know you couldn't.
This supposedly got man in a harsh environment to land on a spherical rock, apparently, whilst doing ludicrous speeds. Land on that rock. Whilst this build quality, this technology, was separating the vacuum of space from an air pressure system.
Let's have a look at how pressurised it was, shall we? The pressure in the lunar lander was about 4 psi. Atmospheric pressure at ground level, by the way, is 14.7 psi. So not really that pressurised, is it, Level Earth Observer?
No, they just
Bearing in
had a
mind,
higher concentration
NASA's
of oxygen.
vacuum chamber, the largest on Earth,
Right.
required 6 to 8 feet thick concrete walls to separate an air pressure system from a
No, it
vacuum.
didn't.
Yes, but that's the other way round, isn't it? A vacuum within a pressurised atmosphere, not a pressurised atmosphere within a vacuum.
And yet we're expected
Walls
to
aren't that
believe
thick for the vacuum.
This
But hey.
art project did the same job, got men to travel and land on objects supposedly 250,000 miles away in ridiculously harsh environment, and yet we see this.
But surely if they were faking it, they would produce photos of something that you moon landing deniers would actually believe, wouldn't they?
It's essentially sticky tape, parchment paper, tin foil, and just lots of imagination.
No, the lunar
No,
lander
calcium
was mostly
tape,
made from
actually, but
heat-treated 2219 and 7075 aluminium alloys, along with multi-layer blankets of
There
aluminized
it is.
plastic.
There you
My
go.
bad, I'm forgetting
Yeah.
the curtain rods. Curtain rods, sticky tape, parchment paper, tin foil. And this is classed as evidence. This is technology stroke the build quality of amazing technology which supposedly got man to land on the moon. And look at the fucking state of it.
No need to be rude. The lunar lander needed to be as light as it possibly could. You sort of forget about aesthetics when that is your goal.
If I built something like that on site, I'd get kicked off the job and told to do one.
It's
You
supposed
couldn't
to
build something like this, Level Earth Observer.
There must have been some incredibly powerful drugs around in the late 60s to distract and hope that people would believe in this absurdity that is the moon landing, which is a charade. I mean, look at the build quality of that.
Drink.
Buckled panels,
They're not
curtain
panels.
rods, duct tape,
Not curtain rods.
tin foil, parchment
duct tape.
paper. It's just a prop,
No.
an art project. Just like all the old school space stuff was, either models in dark rooms or art projects, like props like this. Great stories, a bit of space pantomime and a firework display, and away you go. You got your moon landing. It's ridiculous. No wonder you had things like Woodstock going on in the late 60s, the massive distraction of the Vietnam War, and of course this as well chucked in. All the social issues going on in America mid-60s. All, of course, a great distraction. Drugs being put into communities
Hold on.
to separate and break up the communities that strangely started coming into America when the Vietnam War started.
Oh.
You don't get out much, do you, matey?
And of course, you've got this moon landing charade. Again, people still believe this tosh to this day and get bloody sensitive about it as well. But look at it. Buckled panels. Wait, a failed art project. A terrible space prop. Thunderbird's build quality was far superior to this. And yet we're expected to believe man travelled in this in a harsh environment, landed on a rock.
Hey, just
Had a
stop a second,
vacuum.
Terry.
Yeah, I think we ought to.
Can I just say that in the fiction of Thunderbirds, those craft were designed, sorry, were supposed to have been designed to travel at high Mach numbers within Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah.
Of course, they're going to be streamlined and appear substantially well built.
Yes. This was never designed to operate in anything other than the vacuum of space.
And this is what gets me. He's banging on about distraction, as almost as if nobody during the time noticed this thing being built. It was probably the most publicized thing that everybody's ever seen during that era. Everybody saw this thing. Nobody was distracted. You know, and he keeps going on about them being panels. I mean, like, don't forget, everything you see around the inside, this is all thermal protection. And it's just as Dan has showed. He's shown the actual inside, pressurized compartment container. I mean, yeah, granted, yeah, some of that is still very, very thin, but that's all you needed.
Yeah, I mean, for example, that is a perfectly those whatever's behind those white panels, that's perfectly fine for storage for things that are being kept at the same pressure as the outside of those panels when there is no air or atmosphere for it to pass through while it's traveling.
Yeah, I tell you exactly what's behind there. That's the cryogenic tanks behind those panels. That's exactly what's behind those panels there, right there. That was part, and it was all those parts were meant to buckle on landing. They were meant to. They didn't want anything too rigid, otherwise it might just all fall apart. So they kept it sort of fairly flexible, but it still gave thermal protection. And it was kind of kept away from the actual tanks themselves for to reduce conduction of heat.
Yeah, because no atmosphere, and you block the sun's rays, no heat's going to arrive, is it?
Correct.
He talks about a harsh environment. He sort of, well, what's this harsh environment you're talking about? There's no wind. There's no
environment.
Storms. There's no environment.
Yeah.
Doesn't rain. Doesn't snow. There's no hail. Oh, imagine this thing in a hailstorm. Bloody hell! Wreck it. It was the right state. Yeah. I've seen what happened to my next door neighbour's car and caravan in France in a hailstorm. Hey.
The biggest worry was.
It's harsh. There's no atmosphere, you know.
And by the way, the tape you can actually see, it is tape right enough, but it's capstan tape, and you can buy that at the shops. Yeah, it's got really good thermal properties. When it gets hot or very cold, it doesn't come apart.
So it's also very light.
It's also very light. Yeah.
It's also a really good electrical insulator as well.
Is it? All right, I'll take your word for that.
What sort of tape is it?
Capstan tape. It's got really good thermal properties. In other words, you could stick it on something that's really cold or really hot, and it won't de-stick. Is that a word? De-stick?
Unstick.
Unstick.
Come off.
It will remain
delaminate.
It will not lose its adhesive properties.
Yeah, if you want to be that precise, okay. I'll stick with de-stick.
Well, of course, they knew that it was going to go through various heat cycles, and it was going to be hot, and it was going to be cold, and it was going to be all sorts of things. So, yeah, you don't want this thing to start coming apart on you. I mean, obviously, it is only, it's not structural in any way, shape, or form.
No, not meant to be structural. Yeah,
no, of course.
Because it's just thermal protection. That's all that stuff is. And all those rods and things like that is the same sort of thing. They wanted to keep a space between the components and things like that to to reduce conduction of heat, things like that. So yeah, and of course a lot of those rods as well, because that's a good picture there. See the at the top of the picture, the RCS, the reaction control thruster.
Yep.
That was kind of like a deflection sort of panel. So they needed to sort of do something to keep that to deflect some of the stuff away, because it was actually the exhaust was actually going on to some vital parts they needed to keep away from it, so it deflected it.
Yep.
That bit there. So the top of the screen,
held out and held in shape by those rods, which are going to be as thin and as lightweight as they can get away with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But this is just Leo, I'm afraid. It's his whole shtick. Oh, it's it's unbelievable. These incredible speeds and this unbelievable environment and blah 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 blah.
He doesn't stop to think that's his problem. Well, do you know what? I don't think he's as stupid as he sounds. He thinks he is. I think he's just peddling a narrative at this point, and I honestly don't believe he really believes in what he's the videos he's making. I really don't anymore. I used to, but not anymore. That's why I don't pay much attention to him anymore, because he just spouts out the same old shit that kind of, it looks fake, therefore it is. It's just, that's all he says all the time. He doesn't really present any evidence of any description.
Oh no. He never presents. He says, Earth is provably and scientifically flat. Go on then.
Yeah,
Let's
he
see the
hasn't
proof.
done
Go
that
on.
yet.
No.
He's never done it.
He only ever just says it. He just says, "Oh, it's scientific. This is scientifically impossible." Go on then, demonstrate that. Oh, that's right. You can't. There you go.
Separated from an air pressure system by this technology, this build quality? Have a word.
Let me correct you, Elio. 2 men, not 1. Let's say it all together, everyone. Personal incredulity. Moving on, our next video comes from a channel called Church on Fire Ministry, who has some proof apparently that the solar system is a lie. Let's take a look.
I've got Mercury represented in this first orbit, and it supposedly orbits somewhere around 43 million miles at its maximum. And then you have Venus over here at 67 million miles in the second orbit from the sun. And of course we've got the blue marble. We've got Earth up here in the third orbit, going around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour, supposedly at a distance of 93 million miles from the sun. Okay, and in the meantime, we're spinning around
one
here.
revolution per year?
Okay?
How about that?
And right now, the reason I got the light, I just wanted to cast a strong enough shadow. So you see, this would be daytime on this side, and it's nighttime on this side, the dark side.
No problem so far. I wonder what his issue will be.
Okay, so I get thinking, we are out here looking this way. We're looking out that way. We want to knock the Earth out of its orbit, but we are looking this direction, toward the darkness in our sky.
That's not strictly true. Those in the far northern hemisphere and the far southern hemisphere are actually looking at a different part of the celestial sphere as those nearer the equator.
Okay, now the question is, why can I see Venus at all? If Venus is rotating down here in its second orbit, we're in the third orbit, but we are facing away from Venus right now. How come I can see it in the sky? I mean, it might be up here, wherever, but it's still maintaining this circular distance in here.
He's not saying.
Inside the orbit, on the inside orbit between Earth and Sun. So why am I able to see Venus on the dark side of Earth right now? It would have to be out here to enable it to be seen. It'd have to be catching the light from the sun and being able to be seen here. If it's where we are told it is located, we would not be able to see it in our night sky right now.
Well, you see, yes, we would, because we don't really see it in the night sky. We see it either shortly after dusk or shortly before dawn, and even then it depends on where Venus is in its orbit. You see, Venus is in an inferior orbit. Now that means we see it at best at either greatest eastern or western elongation, and even then it's only ever near the horizon. The evidence gets even better though. From Earth, we always see Venus in phase because some of it is not illuminated by the sun. So yeah, pretty easy one there. So our final video today then, moving on, comes from a Terry R. Iker. You should all know him from the channel Flat Out Truth. And he is talking about a grand illusion. Let's take a look.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to make a really short video on a question that I get asked a lot by globe earthers. And that question goes like this. If the Earth is flat, then why are all the planets and the sun and the moon a sphere?
A very decent question, I think.
And as you can see here, how they make the silly little meme showing a flat Earth with everything else around. Well, it's really, really simple.
That often means too simple.
You believe that everything in the sky is a sphere because that's what you've been told on TV. And when you look at it through a telescope, it does look like a sphere, but you can't reach up there and touch it. You don't know if it's a sphere or not. You're assuming that something thousands of miles away is a sphere because this is what they showed you right here. This is what they show you. When you look up the planets and the Earth, look at them. They're all the same size.
Well, they aren't the same size in my telescope, and they do look like spheres through that, unless you want to say that my eyes are wrong.
But anyways, here's my point. Here's the cartoon images they give you. You think in your mind that they're all a sphere because that's what they show you on TV. Here's the sun. Computer generated image by NASA. Look at it. Of course, it looks like a sphere, right? But is it? Here's the moon. Looks like a sphere, doesn't it? But is it?
Yes, because I see the exact same thing as they do.
Now let's take a closer look. Now they tell us that the sun reflects off the moon and lights the whole moon up, but check out what happens when we shine a light on a ball. It doesn't cover the whole ball, it only puts a speck of light on it.
Now, that is all to do with how the light reflects off the regolith on the moon's surface. It's diffuse reflection, not specular.
Now check this out. Now these look like 4 planets out in outer space, right? according to what you've been shown on TV. They all look like 4 spheres out in outer space, right? But it's just an optical illusion. So here's my answer to all you globers who say, well, if the Earth is flat, why is everything else in the sky a sphere? Well, how do you know it's a sphere? Let's see if it's a sphere. Well, that's not a sphere.
For Christ's sake.
No, it's a half sphere. Equals not flat.
But from 3 inches away on your phone or whatever you're watching this through, it looked like a sphere at first, didn't it?
No.
Now let's check out the next one. Is it a sphere? Let's look and see. Imagine that. A flat disc.
Yes, you can make a flat picture look 3D. No one disputes that. But that doesn't mean that all the planets are flat, does it?
And you think that just because you can see something that's thousands of miles away, that it's a sphere, when you can't even determine which one of these 4 objects is a sphere 3 inches in front of your eyes, and you think you can tell the difference from thousands of miles away?
Another hemisphere, still not flat.
It's time to wake up. It's an optical illusion. You've been lied to, people. Wake up.
Yeah.
Is there any other 2-word combo more said by flat earthers than that one? They think that saying it makes them automatically correct. No, it makes you look silly and quite frankly unoriginal. Well, there we go, another fantastic Flat Earth Fail compilation there, and thank you so much for voting for it to continue. But for today, we are all done and dusted for another Flat Earth Friday. Thank you so much for watching, it truly is appreciated. If you enjoyed it today, smash that like button. I've said smash that like button again. Please consider subscribing as well, it'd be truly appreciated, and of course share the video too if the feeling takes you. Just enough time to once again thank Surfshark for sponsoring today. Remember, visit surfshark.deals/SimonDan and use the code SimonDan to get
a right, Dan.
Yeah, if you take those 5 spheres and you move the camera, say 10 degrees one way and 10 degrees back, the whole illusion disappears.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Is we don't look at just one thing that doesn't move in the sky. That's the stupidity of that whole thing.
It's the Venus guy that cracked me up. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah. we only look one way, straight out.
Yeah. And he said it himself. He said it himself was, I don't know if you almost imagine, like, you know, all the planets revolve around the Earth, kind of at the same time, you know, all in line. I think that's kind of like, I think that's kind of impression you get from him, that, you know. Oh dear me. Because he said it himself. You know, we were told that they revolve around the sun. Well, yeah, you're going to see it at some point, and they do. All of them do, but at different rates because they're at different orbits, you silly. Oh, dear me. Oh, Farms has put his avatar back on again.
Yeah.
Very apt. Yeah, just a second.
Yes, he's putting 2D properties to a 3D space.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a big flurf problem, isn't it? A complete and utter failure to 3D.
Yeah, always. And scale.
Yeah, can't 3D, can't scale.
Scale,
they can't scale.
That's the big one.
Yeah. They can't do perspective.
They
can't do perspective, don't understand orthographic.
Yeah.
In fact, reality. They struggle with reality, to be honest.
Don't even understand foreshortening properly.
Oh, when it comes to numbers, big scary numbers. Can't do big scary numbers.
And they still don't understand. And they still don't understand that Father Ted. No, I mean,
no, they don't.
Even worse than big scary numbers, mathematics with letters.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got to be honest. I struggle with them too, but I've got a reason.
They like
I've got an excuse.
millions and thousands and light years, and yeah, they like all those numbers.
And Tiny Captain, if we do a New Year's Eve stream or anything, you might just see me do it with a bottle and not a cup of tea.
Yeah. and you might see a ppm and some salt.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly can't be doing it with a bottle anymore. Not to that extent, anyway.
Again, so
see me having a heart attack in the stream.
We need to see Matt doing it with a bottle again.
Yes.
Yeah, but it won't have alcohol in it this time, will it? Mate?
Yeah, it'd be a bottle of juice probably.
You just get an empty bottle in, but then put something else in it.
Yeah, I could do. I could pretend, couldn't I? And pretend I was drunk.
Well, you're not
What,
saving
you mean
yourself for
someone-
New Year, Matt.
No, I can have a little drink here and there, but no, not very much, unfortunately.
So you're going to be on the tombstone.
Yeah, save yourself
Sorry, Alan?
for New Year.
What was Alan
You're
saying?
going
What
to
was
be
that?
on the Toonshine then, are you?
I'll be on the Toonshine probably, yeah. Well, I mean, I might be able to have a couple of little beers maybe, but that's about the height of it.
You'll have to get the correct recipe for Toonshine off him.
Yeah, that's right.
We're going to tie it into the right.
I've got
time
the
too.
recipe
You've got the recipe for Toonshine, have you?
for
What is it in-
Toonshine. Oh yeah.
What is it?
It's
Work through it, Terry. You'll get there.
Go to tap turn to the right.
Is it hydrogen and oxygen by any chance? Is it or?
I get talked
Yeah,
over all the
yeah.
time, farmer, so it doesn't bother me.
Oh, what was that, Terry? I
Yeah, I
can't
know,
hear
but
what you're
good
saying,
grief.
Terry. Don't know what you're
What?
saying.
Terry, we're trying to talk. Can you be quiet?
Yeah, do you mind? We're on your show. We're trying to talk. Go ahead, Terry. What do you want to say?
No, I've already said it. Sorry.
Oh dear, gonna get kicked. Where'd I go?
You could get kicked in a minute anyway.
Yeah.
How'd you like my my new logo?
What'd you do to it? You put
All right,
you
I
put a
hadn't
space
seen that.
shuttle on
It looked like
of some sort.
Yeah, silhouette of a space shuttle-ish. It's not
Ish.
quite space
It's not
shuttle.
the space
Yeah.
shuttle, is it?
No,
no.
not quite the same. It looks more like the Russian version of it. Sort of.
I was thinking Armageddon,
Oh, were you?
possibly. The
I
boosters
know
are
you
too
want
long,
me to
aren't
watch
they?
that movie now that you put it in my mind.
What,
you need to
Armageddon?
change it to
Armageddon.
Thunderbird 2. Thunderbird 2, yeah. Put on Thunderbird 2 instead.
Oh no, it's a bit better than Thunderbird 2, I think. It's sort of space shuttle-ish. It's just the wings are not quite in the right place, and the boosters are a bit long. So
I was reckon Thunderbird 2 would work if it was full of helium and was a balloon. That's the only way that ship was ever going to work.
well, there's some people who think the space shuttle was a balloon.
I think it would have relied more on thrust than lift.
Yeah, except it was vertical. It had some vertical lift capabilities. So,
Yeah.
Well, David Weiss thinks that the space shuttle was a balloon because just before liftoff it bounced.
Yes, that's right.
It's a balloon.
That's right. They said the fuel tank isn't a fuel tank; it's a helium
balloon. Yeah,
and they've bolted a space shuttle and boosters to it somehow.
Because that would be the
just because of that typical space shuttle bounce that it does on liftoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Called the twang, isn't it?
They've
The
never
twang.
looked
The
at
twang.
wait to the amount of helium it takes to lift an object. Anamorphic, if you don't say my name correctly, you'll tag me wrong, and it won't come up. Learn to speak my name correctly. We'll call you a flat earther if you do that.
Ooh.
No, there's no need for that kind of language.
Yeah, don't need to insult him. He only just got here.
Okay. Got everything? I've got to pronounce Paul's name in. The last part's easy.
What?
It's not that hard.
What? Giovanni?
Giovanni.
Batista.
Batista.
Venturi.
Batista.
Venturi.
Venturi. Or
it's easy.
Venturi.
Venturi. I'm not saying it in the Italian accent, that's for sure.
Hey. Well, you've got to speak with your hands if it's Italian.
I did.
Oh, that's no good. We can't see your hands.
Tiny Captain thought my my space shuttle-ish object was so. He said it's something else, and it had very spiky ears.
What?
thought it was something else.
Hey?
Think about it. Think about it, Terry.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
think
think
about it.
about it. That's the whole issue.
No, probably best not. No.
Probably not.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
How shall I put it? A marital aid, maybe? I don't know.
Hey?
Something phallic.
Something phallic. Yeah, with with bunny ears.
I think we'll leave
Money,
it there.
listen,
I think
it's
we'll
not
leave it
me.
there
It's,
before
that's Tony.
Matt's mind goes
That's,
down the wrong.
no, hold
goes
on.
down
That's
the
Tony Captain who said it, not me. Don't blame me. My fault again.
Oh, thanks, Alan. Thanks, Timbo. Thanks, Farmer. Thanks, Big Blue.
Oh, bloody, I've just got here. You're
And
going already.
I've already said Paul's name. Thanks,
What
Matt.
you get for being
yeah,
late.
You're late, Matt.
I know.
We
Busy
talked
doing
about,
other things.
We were talking about you earlier, and you didn't turn up.
Oh,
so
yeah?
we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, on the Shields on Friday, I am shaving my head live. Believe it or not.
Really?
Yes, you heard it right.
Okay.
Yeah. What
I
happened was
always found that's the best way to do it, because if you do it dead, it just nothing goes on.
Yeah, it, basically what it was, we were doing a fundraiser last night for one of the Shields, Lucafish, and his daughter. His daughter's really got into doing astronomy live on YouTube, and she really enjoys it, but they need to get a mount, and it was going to cost $200. So I said, right, okay, if you raise the money tonight on the live stream, $200, I'll shave my head live on the Shields next Friday. And yes, they raised $200, and it's only because DKG, the bastard, donated $100.
You thought, oh, I'll be safe.
I'll be all right. Yeah, I didn't think that. I thought, oh well, if they raise $100, that'd be great. And they, yeah, went well past that.
Mind, I see that. Thanks, Dad. Yeah. Okay, son.
Oh yeah, Dora's posted it where M2M pledges to shave his head. He's posted the
Okay.
Yes,
I
that's a
can't
good
get away
point.
with it.
I'm getting close to needing a haircut. Oh yeah, I can get hold of it. It's too long. Yeah.
So we're taking the adapter off the razor itself. So it's just literally just the razor part, and it's literally a bit shorter than the number one.
It's going to be like that opening scene of Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, closest I've come to is a 2. I've never gone all the way and had the whole bloody lot taken off.
I think the most I've had is a number 3. I think that's about as close as I've got.
I've done it. I've done it a few times. Last time I did it was I was being kingpin for a costume party, so I completely shaved everything.
Yeah, that's
beard, hair, the whole lot.
Anyway, let's let Terry do his goodbyes. Sorry, Terry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, Terry.
What was I up to?
You may continue now.
I forgot what I was
Sorry,
saying.
whose show is it again? Oh, that's right, Terry.
I forgot what I was saying. Okay.
What's going on?
What? What happened?
Music. We can hear music.
What's that, Skip?
What's that, Skip? Show's coming to an end, Skip. That's what you're trying to say, Skip?
Yep, that's it. Thanks, Dora. Thanks, Tiny Captain, Judy, Anamorphic, Dora, Thurston. I think that's about it, isn't it? Biggest Doggers, Handball.
Skippy! Skippy!
Yeah, say goodbye to Gary.
Skippy the bush kangaroo.
Tiny Captain.
Skippy, oh, Skippy. Whatever.
Blue was out there. Stewie was out there. Judy was out there. Carl was out there earlier. I did see Carl. And Dora. Clive. Oh, did that stop? Oh, there you go. I thought it would loop around. Can it loop? Can you do that with this trick thing? Oh yeah, I know. I'll be able to fix that. Clive, Professor Phil.
Can't really mosh to this one, can you?
Larry DeMarch.
Try headbanging as well. Headbanging, yeah, there you go.
Or air guitar to it. It just don't work.
No.
Biggie bed here. Yeah, that's all I can find.
Skippy.
I mean, I have other music I can play.
Exit line.
Skippy.
That's okay. All right then.
I wanna make mistakes of you.
You can
Night
give me
Peanuts.
words of wisdom.
Night
now.
Peanuts.
Night. Night, Skippy.
No.
Any
Yeah,
words of wisdom?
I got some words of wisdom. Yeah, I got some words of wisdom. Yeah. Complicated problems always have the easiest and most wrong solutions.
Yeah, very true.
Oh, look, it's an FE432. Look, just there. Oh,
It is.
I know it is.